Here's Purdy with a lot of time. Steps into one. Launching deep. Going for Brandon Ayuk. It is. Oh, he caught it off the ricochet. Penalty. Is he in?
Live from Radio Row at Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas, this is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com.
Here's Kansas City from the 19, throwing at the goal line, and it's caught by Kelce for the touchdown.
Our coverage of Super Bowl 58 is brought to you by Allen Samuels House of Travel, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, TexasBeefHouse.com, IdealMRI.com, Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine, Marco's Pizza, Rogue Media, Camille Johnson Realtors, The Tyler Candle Company, United Nissan.
Third down, four-man rush. Purdy in some trouble. Escapes, looking for the first down. He's got it and more. Brock Purdy with the legs inside the 30.
365 Sports is turbocharged by Unite Private Networks. Find out more at UnitePrivateNetworks.com.
2nd and 10 to the end zone again, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Deion Bush, who just came in 2 plays ago for Mike Edwards.
Now here's David Smoke and Paul Catalina.
We start another day, our final day inside Las Vegas at NFL Media Headquarters of Mandalay Bay and NFL Radio Row. Game is on Sunday night, oh, by the way, Chiefs and 49ers, and we're here to bring you the atmosphere, the energy, some of the guests and personalities. We will have a nugget or two, a segment on the Big 12 men's basketball weekend coming up. But today on the show, Jake Plummer, agent Sean Stellato. Jake Plummer, who played at Arizona State and in the NFL for a nice long time, his thoughts about NIL and college athletes is interesting. Bill Miller of American Gaming Association. No one ever thought Vegas would host anything NFL, much less host the game that decides their world championship. Randy Grimes, former Baylor offensive lineman. Kelvin Beachin of Mejia, Texas, and SMU. Also, Neil Smith, great with the Kansas City Chiefs and Denver Broncos. In a couple of segments, military-type themes. Nate Boyer, U.S. Army Green Beret, on the transition of military and athletes into the real life after they retire, and then also the Thunderbirds who fly over Allegiant Stadium on Sunday evening. We will talk to some of the crew, maintenance, and a pilot who will help direct what that is on Sunday. So, Paul, we've been here throughout the week. We do this every week, even when I started the segment on Thursday. Hey, by the way, there's a game on Sunday. I always seem to forget there's a game on Sunday because of where we are in this bubble.
Yeah, I think you and I are probably both leaning towards picking the Chiefs because of, Goliath, Godzilla. 15 that's back there at quarterback that can just make all these things happen. I think this game's going to be interesting, though, because the 49ers – I mean, when they play well, they play really clean, and they beat you up. They're very physical. They're one of the few teams, I think, that can match the Chiefs' defensive physicality. So it should be a really good game. I'm a big fan of Christian McCaffrey. I love watching him play. I'm a huge Deebo Samuel fan. There's always those players you wish were on your favorite team, and those are two guys. Like I think everybody would, but for me in particular, those are two that I just would love. I would love to see it if they were on my favorite team. So yeah, I think it's going to be a fun one, and you cannot count out Patrick Mahomes, but Brock Purdy's a tough little sucker.
Yeah,
I mean,
I thought the way he ran under pressure to pick up key first downs may be something that you know he's mobile, but he's not going to be thought of as Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes is a hell of an athlete, but he'll pick up 2 or 3 of those first downs and drive a defense crazy. I thought what Purdy did against the Packers, that to me at the end was what allowed them to win the game. There's a lot of other, don't get me wrong, but I thought that was a part of what you don't really think much about him that's sneaky pretty good.
Yeah, and he has a confidence and a calm about him, and so yeah, is he going to do ridiculous crazy things like Patrick Mahomes does? No, there's nobody else that does that. But I do think that this is an opportunity for the 49ers because the the Chiefs have won a lot of games where they haven't scored like they did before, where they were scoring 31 points. They're more of like a 21 to 23 point a game team right now on good days. So especially the way they've played in the playoffs, the offense hasn't been explosive. It's just been efficient, and they haven't made the big mistakes. So I think the Chiefs, are vulnerable in the point total category, where it's not going to be insurmountable at any point for the 49ers. And if the 49ers can take advantage of that, then they can win the game, because this is I feel confident in saying this, and I said this on the show yesterday. This is the last time that you're going to see this Chiefs offense struggle like it did this year for a while.
Yeah, they'll take care of that.
They're going to take care of that.
What I love is and we had Lee Steinberg on earlier this week, is that Mahomes, he threw a fit or two on the sidelines, but my God, so did Tom Brady, and so did everyone else. So did Aikman. But he was frustrating because of the drops. I mean, some of them just simple drops, which might have been the players who are not known for being like high-level guys. They were pressing, so they were like a simple catch. I saw every one of them drop a pass in a key time, but they are starting to make those plays. And Rashee Rice, he's turned out like you can see what's going to happen with him. Think about if he has a game, a pretty good one or not, but what they can do in the offseason with him next year.
Oh, I mean, he full offseason with Patrick Mahomes, knowing the offense, that the sky's the limit. Plus, they're about to probably in free agency and the draft supplement that offense with. You know who I would think would be a sneaky good fit for playing alongside Rashee Rice would be Adonai Mitchell.
Ooh.
Or Xavier Worthy. Because Worthy is just lightning quick.
Yeah, no,
But like those two guys stick out.
But isn't it's how they have found those guys have all of a sudden made some plays. Now they have confidence to make the plays. And instead of a ball being thrown their way like, oh, my God, it's now just instinctive, and they're making those plays.
Yeah, they're going to have to do that. But, the Rashee Rice is a fantastic player, and the ceiling is so high for him. And they got him in the third round. That's how they've been. They get these guys round after round that contribute to their team. Isaiah Pacheco was like the 10th pick of the 7th round, or 11 picks before Brock Purdy. So he was nearly irrelevant. So there are, they're just these are the two best drafting teams in the league right now. And look, the teams, honestly, if you look at this year's playoffs, who are in the playoffs, it was. And I'll go from the bottom up. The Cowboys are a pretty good drafting team. They're not a very good finishing team, but they're a very good drafting team. The 49ers are a great drafting team. The Ravens are a great drafting team. The Packers are a great drafting team. The Lions have had 3 great drafts in a row. The Chiefs are excellent at it. So, yeah, you don't have to go very far to see why these teams were in the playoffs this year, because they've all had great drafts. And that's what especially the Chiefs and 49ers are just good at finding those guys.
So that's game set Sunday afternoon. Wanted to make sure we started off the show and discussed the actual game. We will bring you the personalities, the segments, the interviews, and much more. And again, preview the Big 12 weekend in basketball, too. Garrett Ross and Emery Winter have been with us throughout the week. We're not done. 365 Sports tonight here at Vegas in Super Bowl 58.
Allen Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget, from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go, and international and missionary travel is one of their unique specialties. Allen Samuels House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560, or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
This is 365 Sports.
The Sikkim 365 app is brought to you by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Jake Plummer, Arizona State University, with us on 365 Sports, and also his career in the NFL, and businessman, entrepreneur. We've had you on quite a bit since the Arizona State Big 12. In fact, we did the day that it kind of became official. Is that sunk in yet, that where they're going to be a part of the Big 12?
No, because, it's like it will next year when they're playing these teams that you only used to randomly get once in a while if you wanted to have a tough schedule, non-conference schedule, but now they got to play them. So I don't know. It's the evolution of this game that we play, and you can't stop it. I don't necessarily believe in doing things for money, and that's what it feels like to me.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Because I never played this game to get paid. It wasn't like, I'm going to go make millions when I was an 8th grader. I wanted to win a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And then, if you dive into where you're at and you do the work and you put forth the effort, the money will come. That's just bound to happen. But I never played this game for the money. And when you're making decisions based on money for the game, I just worry about the players, because there's no game without the players. And these college kids that said you got an education, you're getting an education. Well, what about when they're 48 and they didn't go to the pros, but they still had 8 concussions and 3 blown knees? Where's all this money that's being generated through all these movements? Is there anything getting set aside for their long-term future? No. So that's what worries me.
Yeah, well, right now, like with NIL, they got to cash in now, but it's, again, you can get
that's not equal,
Yeah.
You're going to give NIL money to a center who isn't out and about and doesn't want to have endorsements? No. You're going to give it to the quarterback, and that's not right. It's not fair. It's not equitable. So, the NIL is good. I got some buddies that sent me a picture of a T-shirt that said Jake the Snake Plummer, and I'm diving into the end zone in the Rose Bowl, and they're like, hope you're getting your NIL from this. I'm like, I'm not getting anything from that. That's my name, my likeness. That's me, and they're selling that T-shirt, and I don't get anything from that, and I should, right? Because that's me. But these kids should get that, but there's got to be something into the long-term, future. So we'll see. I don't know.
You would have gotten it had it been available, no question, at the position, and would have been taken care of. What about in the locker room? Football's always been known as the ultimate team sport. What about in the locker room? Do you think that I haven't heard of it creating problems, like the center may get $35,000 a year, and it's just and a quarterback gets $1 million. Would that have ever created any issues in the locker room, in your opinion?
Oh, yeah. I could see that happening for sure, especially if the quarterback getting $1 million is a dud.
Yeah.
And the guy behind him is getting $25,000.
Yep.
And now he's the one leading the team. What's going on? I feel like college, for me, was a proving ground to get to where you get paid to play the game. You prove yourself in college, to get the opportunity to go to the league, then now make what they're making now is like, this is generational wealth what some of these guys are making. But let's be real clear here. What the quarterbacks make, these $250,000 guaranteed, like that left guard ain't making that. He's making some good money, but he ain't making that much money. And the owner, he's making a hell of a lot more than that quarterback making $250 million a year.
Yeah, there's a reason why they're billionaires.
It's a strange dichotomy going on there, and I think really, it confuses me sometimes. But this is a big industry as you look around at all the flashing signs and all the stuff that's really probably not very good for your health being pushed on you with Bud Light and Pepsi and Doritos and preservatives and shit. And here we are. We're in Radio Row. We're in Vegas. You can go put a bet down and then walk over and watch the game. Who'd have thought that? Gambling was so
verboten.
Oh, man. That was the end all, the be all. And now, it's like part of what's grown the game. DraftKings and fantasy football and all this. So, it's, hey, you can't stop a train running down the tracks, but eventually, hopefully you lay out enough track ahead of you so you can continue on. And that's where college and NFL, I look at this game, it's still fun to watch, but I haven't seen much evolution, to be real honest with you. You can look at film of me playing in '98 with Mark Trestman when for 8 games we threw for 2,500 yards. There's no difference. They're running the same thing with just different players. It's the same game. It's tackling, it's running, it's scoring. Now it's just blown up into this massive industry.
We've had you on several times. I don't know if we've ever really gotten to you and Pat Tillman were very, very close. Yeah. And he is a true American hero that gave up something that most people wouldn't give up to go fight for our country. Yeah. What today, after all this time, like when you think of Pat or what he means, like what do you think his true message to the world is, or that he would want people to know?
Man, that's a great question. I was very grateful and thankful to have a not only just a great teammate and someone that was inspirational, but a great friend. And I think that all I take from my relationship with him was his ability to be a really good friend to so many people, to have a positive impact on so many people prior to him even doing what he did to go leave the game and go fight for our country. He was leaving an indelible impression on everybody he crossed his path with. So it wasn't like he changed and became a national hero and was all of a sudden this bigger-than-life guy. He was always just true to who he was. He was himself. He did what he wanted to do. The coaches didn't want him. They wanted him to gain weight one off season. What did he do? He went and ran a marathon. He ain't gaining weight training for a marathon, But he said, I'm going to run a marathon this off season, and he did it, So Pat really embodied that. Like we say, do you do it? A lot of times we talk, but you don't back it up. Pat backed it up, and so that's a really inspirational thing. That now he's not here. So I look at myself and I'm like, it'd be curious to hear him talk to me about what I'm up to now, like I'd love to get his take on a lot of different things, because he was always so opinionated, but not just a knee-jerk reaction opinion. It was based on what he'd read and gathered information, and he was a very well-read man. He loved gaining knowledge and learning new things and challenging himself to be better. And yeah, I miss Pat. I wish he'd have had some kids, because a guy like him, you want him to have some offspring, because his genes are good. And I just pray for his family, that they'll find answers and find relief, or find something that can bring them some peace of mind as they've lost what's to many an amazing human being. But they knew all along. His mom knew what he was when she had him. So yeah, he was a great human being, and I was blessed to know him.
You were a part of that team that beat Nebraska in the first game of the '96 season, I think, first or second game.
The third game,
19-0 or whatever. Yep. You guys, the defense was unbelievable against an offense. Scott Frost's first year, I think, as a starter. But you beat them. And the year before, did they not put up like 70 on you?
Yeah, I think it was like 74-28. So, and I tell people, you heard me say 28, right? So offensively, that's what we scored before I got out of the game. Like, we put up 28 points on that defense. So we didn't worry. I wasn't scared of that team. It was our defense that had trouble, and we made some changes in the offseason, brought in some guys, and then that was a really big win for us.
It was our buddy Phil Snow.
Huge.
Yeah.
Phil orchestrated that defense. Pat was part of that defense. Derek Rogers came in and was a high-level tone setter that would run everywhere in practice. And so now on film in practice, you're standing out like a sore thumb because Derek Rogers is running by you, chasing the running back 30 yards downfield. All of a sudden it caught fire, and now we got 4 guys, 7 guys. Now there's 11 dudes pursuing the runner. And so in the game, you never know when a ball pops out, and it can be the biggest play of the entire season. And if you're lollygagging and half-assing it going down the field, you miss that opportunity to make a play where now our guys are swarming. That ball pops out. Now it's ours. We're on it because we're like mad dogs going to the ball. So that was a huge game for us, and that season was so much fun. Man, that was what a great season. We didn't win a national championship. I didn't win a Super Bowl. I didn't win the Heisman. I did win a state championship in high school football, so that's cool. At least I got one trophy. But I was right there, you know. What an accomplishment for myself to look back at my career and be proud of all that I did.
When you were playing Bill Walsh, I would hear Bill Walsh talk about you all the time. He loved you.
Yeah.
Like, he thought you were, like, you know, you could see, like, I saw an interview one time talking. He's like, "Oh, I love Plummer. Plummer's this great." And you could see the wheels turning in his head. Did you get to have a relationship with him and talk to him? Or
I didn't have a relationship, but I came to the Stanford quarterback receiver camp before my senior year, and he picked out some quarterbacks that out of the whole group of campers there, and I was one of them that got to go back and spend some time with him and a few other guys getting some high-level education on the game. And he, you know, when that happened and some words came out of how I performed at camp, set a foot speed record on a foot drill thing, I started getting letters from every college in the country. And so that was Bill Walsh's influence. And then here I am coming out of college after I went to ASU and didn't go to Stanford. Funny story, Scott Frost went to Stanford.
Yes, he did.
They told me, we have a quarterback, we're good, because I wanted to go to Stanford. Because I wasn't thinking NFL. I was wanting to play football for Stanford. My dream was the NFL, but I thought, man, a Stanford education, nothing could go wrong there. And they took Scott Frost. You know how that turned out. One of the games we're playing in my sophomore year, I throw a touchdown, and it's Scott Frost playing safety, and I'm like, what the heck's going on here? And then he's at Nebraska, you know. And so that's an interesting twist there. And then when I came out in college, Bill was kind of getting pushed out of the 49ers organization in some way, whatever was going on there. But he was hardcore pushing for me to be a Niner because he felt like he saw similarities to Joe Montana. And so as a young man, when the coach says that, what kind of confidence that gave me? Like, you think I've got, like, Joe Montana level abilities? Like, okay, let me see if I got this. I'm going to go do this. So, yeah, Bill Walsh, you know, it would have been great to play for that man at one point. I never got a chance to, but I was blessed to run his system that Mark Trestman learned from him, that Mike Shanahan learned from him, and play in this beautiful West Coast offense, whatever you want to label it as. Man, I have fun running that offense.
So how's the mushroom business?
It's going well. I mean, it's like sales business, you know. People need to hear things sometimes 7 times before they start paying attention. So we're just continuing to educate, continuing to let people know there's something out there that can help you initiate it's really a positive intervention towards your own health and wellness, taking it in your own hands.
Coffee's taken off, right? Mushroom coffee is taken off.
Coffee is a big thing, you know, but, you know, I don't know how you can be misled sometimes by a label, mushroom coffee. We'll break it down. How many milligrams of actual lion's mane are in that coffee?
Yeah.
You need to find that out, because if you're not taking 500 milligrams to 1,000 a day, you may not be getting the full benefits of that. So we're learning as we go, and people that are curious are experiencing the benefits when they try it out. We're doing a 21-day challenge. You can sign up at getumbo.com, because anything you want to try to make a positive intervention or change the way you're doing things, it takes commitment. So daily habits, we're doing some daily morning rituals and some evening rituals surrounded around movement, some meditation, some breath work, things that have helped me put me on a path towards wellness. And then if people want to join the challenge and order some mushrooms, that's great, because then we realize like consistency over time equals results. So you take these for a day or two, and you might not feel something. It's like eating broccoli. Do you eat broccoli and go, good God, I'm all of a sudden in shape? No, but it's good for you, that you need those nutrients and those vitamins and minerals. Same thing here. Once you start taking it, as time goes, you'll start to notice, I'm not crashing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. What's going on? I'm dreaming again. I'm sleeping. I'm waking up refreshed. These are little changes that add up to a lot when you're taking care of your internal and the way your systems work. And so we're trying to initiate this. Me and Rashad Evans will lead you through some yoga, some breath work, some stuff. And, that's our next thing. But I'm looking for curious individuals that want to learn more and want to take, like I said, that step towards health and wellness.
I know you got to go. I saw a picture of you at Luke Air Force Base in a jet.
Yeah.
We had the Thunderbirds on yesterday. Some of those that are going to fly over Allegiant Stadium. What was that like?
Oh, my goodness. That was taking off in the jet. That was amazing. We got an opportunity there in Colorado to do that, and I tell you, I got sick because we're moving so fast, and I turned my head to look, and you're going so fast.
Equilibrium?
My equilibrium got thrown off, and he gave me the handle of the jet, and my dumb ass, I'm like taking a turn like I'm flying a 737 or something instead of like, if I go back, I would have just yanked on it. But, we pulled about 7 Gs, and it was pretty fun, to get
awesome.
that opportunity. That doesn't happen very often. So for me, that was once in a lifetime kind of deal.
Jake, thanks for the time, and when you've been on before with us as well. Good luck with your business again.
Awesome.
And again, feel better, look better. Habits are better. Thanks for your time.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me on the show.
Jake Plummer, 365 Sports. Samantha Duvall, TexasBeefHouse.com. The auctions keep on being, from what I can tell, a great success, Samantha.
Yes, and they are so much fun. We have people that come out that have never been to any type of auction, and they have so much fun. You can hear and feel the energy in the room, especially when people are high-fiving each other when they've won a lot, or you can tell when people are just bummed when they didn't get that one and they're waiting for the next one, but the energy is just so awesome.
Your father said it's been so successful, you're looking at doing even more and more into the future. Is that correct?
That is correct. We don't have a date yet, but we're looking at maybe possibly sometime in April doing another one. And this one will again be a live auction along with being able to bid online for people that are not local.
Farm-raised, aged Wagyu beef. And now people can get it as they want it. The fact that they can control how much they buy and also how much they pay. How really cool is that?
What we like to call it is price discovery. So we don't want to put a price on our product. We want you to decide what you want to pay for our product. So you get to bid what you want to pay.
Samantha, this company has really gone off. You guys are like setting the standard. What are other people in your profession saying about what you're doing?
After this last auction, we had people reach out to us from Arkansas, from Oklahoma, just so excited for what we're doing because it gives them the opportunity to maybe do this possibly in the future too. So we've had a lot of positive feedback from other ranchers.
Super Bowl coming up February the 11th. Chiefs against the 49ers.
You can still order online before then, and this coming week we'll ship Monday through Wednesday. We've got flank steak, flap steak. We've got hamburgers that you can order and get shipped to you. And you know that we're a really big Chiefs fan because Patrick Mahomes is from our hometown.
Right there in your backyard. That's Samantha Duvall, the great company that continues to set the standard in the beef business at TexasBeefHouse.com.
Shop big savings during the Ram Truck Month at Allen Samuels in Waco. Ram 1500 is the most luxurious and technologically advanced Ram 1500 ever. There's a great selection on the lot and ready for immediate delivery. Ram Truck Month sales event is a winner at Allen Samuels in Waco.
Thank you for calling your local Marco's Pizza. We're turning up the heat with our new Reaper Cheesy Bread. Fresh, house-made dough is topped with a spicy cheese blend infused with jalapeno, habanero, and Carolina Reaper peppers. At only $5.99, this limited time product is a hot deal. Add it to your order while you can. A Marco's team member will be with you shortly.
Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it, and that offer on the Reaper Cheesy Bread is available right now at any of the 5 Marco's Pizza locations in Waco, including Belmead, China Spring, Robinson, Woodway and Hewitt. Order online at Marcos.com. Call for a pickup or delivery. Marcos Pizza is turning up the heat with their all-new Reaper Cheesy Bread with fresh, hot, house-made dough topped with a spicy cheese blend infused with jalapeno, habanero, and Carolina Reaper peppers. And only $5.99 and for a limited time only. Marcos Pizza, the fastest growing pizza brand in America. 5 locations in Waco. And the new Reaper Cheesy Bread. Marcos Pizza. Pizza lovers get it.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Enjoying the show? Hit the like button and subscribe.
.365 Sports NFL Media Headquarters in Radio Row, and John Stellato, the agent, NFL agent, but also the agent. What a great story for Tommy DeVito of the Giants this year. He joins us here at Radio Row. Man, you're the best-looking dude here today.
You're too kind, man. I you know what? My grandmother, she knew how to dress men, and she worked in a men's department store till she was 86. Letizia, she was from Ponte Grande, Catanzaro, Calabria, Italy, and she put a premium on fashion as a kid, and I just, I grew up loving it.
So you've repped players before. Was this different with Tommy? Was it just kind of the fan club and the overwhelming?
You know what? I had 19 Super Bowl champions over the last 11 years, 10 years. But yeah, with Tommy, maybe the quarterback thing.
Right.
Tommy and I put a premium on the root of our success, our Italian heritage. And having that moment, having a quarterback, New York, I mean, the stars really did align. Obviously Tommy, my hat goes off to him, but Tommy was an Elite 11 guy. He was a MVP of the Oregon Open. He could have went anywhere. Went to Syracuse. Whether you say politics, injuries, whatever, it didn't work there. Reinvents himself at Illinois, and I mean his ability to read defense, his ability to process, rip the football, that wasn't an overnight thing. And I was just happy to see him get what he deserved, and it's a testament to the Giants. When 28 other teams gave us the Heisman draft day, saw the value in him, and really came down to the 24th hour to say, hey, this kid's going to get a realistic shot here, because that's all we wanted. So many kids get that, the end of the draft, the undrafted. Right. You're going to get a shot. You're going to get a shot. What happens? You get no reps.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, when I introduced myself to you, you said Val, and
Val Club is important to me.
It's very important to me too.
You got a more Italian first name though.
Yeah.
My mother loves Sean Connery, so I can't knock that.
No, that's great. But
he's the exception.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Talking about a rock star.
My dad was Pete. There was like 11,000 Pete's in our family. Like it's
Pete 1, Pete Junior, Pete Senior.
Yeah, we had tall Pete with short Pete.
Yep.
We had a medium Pete. But all right. I love, you mentioned the Italian culture and like how kind of a celebration it became of what we have and how cool it is, and not maybe people knowing something that's not just on TV that like they think of was really cool. But I would like you as a fellow Italian to pitch me, if I'm a prospective client, I want to hear Sean Stellato's pitch.
You know what? I'll run through burning buildings for you, and Italians stick together, and we'll have a certain concoction between us with DNA that will be unbreakable. And I can assure you that, giving me that opportunity, I'm going to show you not just the money, I'm going to show you the Italian way, which is a unique way.
There we go. All right, I'm sold.
No, you were before that. You were before that.
Lee Steinberg had no chance.
Lee, it's crazy because, I saw Jerry Maguire want to be a sports agent. So I'm in the sprint day going up to the Hall of Fame induction, and Chicago, and my phone rings, and it's Lee Steinberg. And he said, hey, I just want to congratulate you because you remind me of a young Lee Steinberg.
No kidding.
30 years ago. That meant a lot to me. I never had one agent ever reach out to me. And outside of like trying to steal a client. But that being said, that meant a lot, and I have a lot of respect for him.
It's early on, and we're a college football show too. We do a lot of that. Have you seen any yet changes in how players look at the NFL based on what's available with NIL in college?
I have. It's becoming more of a business, college football, and I think the amateurism side of it, I've always been an advocate to pay the players if they're, using their name, image, and likeness. But at the end of the day, I thought it was done like the Wild West. There was a lot of ambiguity out there. And I think that it's really hurt because I think about you're a college coach. You got to compete with so many different variables. And the fact is, it's like if someone can, pay you more, you're not going to stay loyal, you're going to leave. So it's really, it's turned it into almost like, all right, weigh my options. I'm going to get more to stay in college than come out. But then you're going to get a year older, the risk of injury. So you can argue both ways, but I just don't like the structure at all.
Yeah, it's there. It's like the dam broke,
Yeah.
And I don't know if they'll ever be able to put the hay back in the barn, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to make it harder for people in your profession, too, because in the NFL, there is, what you're structuring. You also know when you're pitching your client for an endorsement, you kind of know the value. College athletes is very ambiguous. Unless you are somebody like Puka Nacua, that is known, or some of these like Brendan Rice over here that's been walking around, you're not known, so it's an unproven commodity, and it's not the same thing. It's got to be a little harder, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's it's such a competitive industry, and I do a lot of listening and not overly spoken, but I think everybody has their own strategy, their own formula, and I can't really, you got to worry about the man in the mirror.
Right.
I can't worry about things I can't control, and I think, I'm at the point in my life where if someone doesn't want to work with me, or if I whatever, life is so precious. I just lost my father-in-law 3 days ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. I'm very, very broken about. Then you got guys like Scotty Zolak over here walking by. Can't give me any love. I'm from Boston.
Scott Zolak.
Yeah, he can't give me no love. Doesn't respond to anything. It's all good. I didn't get a response. It's all right. Yeah, I am on air. That's so right there.
Hey, this will be great content.
Yeah,
it would. Scotty Zoe, Indianapolis game, Colts. I remember watching it, seeing him.
Best local agent up in our area.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw this guy play in the Independence Bowl. Yeah.
Shreveport, Louisiana.
Yep.
Best game
ever, man. Listen, sounds good, Zoe.
Yeah.
Well,
there we go.
Hey, he was about to walk by, and
there we go.
But once he saw you, of course, there's that.
Well, it's funny though. I texted him yesterday about getting on, and he gave me the Heisman. So it's all good.
That's okay. Look, Boston. Are you a Red Sox guy?
It's crazy to say this. So my first city championship was that I won. First championship ever was playing for the Salem Little League Yankees.
Wow.
And I had to do a school project on the Yankees that fall, and I just fell in love with the history.
Oh, yeah.
Joe DiMaggio and Babe Ruth and
Mantle,
and all that, and all the championships. And I would say
also a lot of Italians on the Yankees.
Yes, very true. Yogi Berra, DiMaggio, Rizzuto, Torre, Girardi,
DiMaggio,
yep. So I don't dislike the Red Sox. Red Sox have been very good to me. But I am more of a Yankees fan. And, obviously, Tommy, we're going to do some collaboration with them. I'm excited about.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know you got to go, and we're about to get to another segment. Tell us
the
about
book, No Backing Down. It's kind of a concoction of Friday Night Lights meets Rudy. And that being said, we're obviously very passionate about the story, personal tragedies, massive media attention, divine intervention. It's faith-based. My connection to the book is story. I was the quarterback trying to be the next Doug Flutie, living with my dying grandmother, and who was Letizia, who was living with us at the time. And the writer of Age of Adeline wrote the movie script, so it's done. So, the goal is to bring it to the big screen and having some of my guys play parts in that movie. Bill Belichick endorsed it, and Doug Flutie wrote the foreword.
That's awesome.
Hey, Doug was my boyhood idol.
What The Ring? Can you tell us about The Ring?
Yeah, National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that whole experience, what my ancestors went through to get here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the low means that they traveled the lowest means of ocean transport. 12 days on the SS Canopic, third class, and one was a peasant farmer, the other was shoemakers. They didn't have a luxury that fulfilled him, the work ethics that really echoed, and I take such pride in my my work ethic and my family tree.
As a fellow Italian, thank you for shining a light on our
people.
He
came here because I'm a British, English, German.
I did.
Listen, I
love it all, though. That's what makes it. You're welcome, guys.
Sean Stellato, Tommy DeVito's agent, and among many others with us. What a great segment with him. We are in Las Vegas, Nevada, 365 Sports.
Allen Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go, and international and missionary travel is one of their unique specialties. Allen Samuels House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560 or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Here's Purdy with a lot of time. Steps into one. Launching deep. Going for Brandon Ayuk. It is. Oh, he caught it off the ricochet. Penalty. Is he in?
Live from Radio Row at Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. This is 365 Sports. Powered by Sikkim365.com.
Here's Kansas City from the 19. Throwing at the goal line. And it's caught by Kelce for the touchdown.
Our coverage of Super Bowl 58 is brought to you by Allen Samuels House of Travel, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, TexasBeefHouse.com, IdealMRI.com, Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine, Marco's Pizza, Rogue Media, Camille Johnson Realtors, The Tyler Candle Company, United Nissan.
Third down, four-man rush. Purdy in some trouble. Escapes, looking for the first down. He's got it and more. Brock Purdy with the legs inside the 30.
365 Sports is turbocharged by Unite Private Networks. Find out more at UnitePrivateNetworks.com.
2nd and 10 to the end zone again, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Dion Bush, who just came in 2 plays ago for Mike Edwards.
Now here's David Smoke and Paul Catalina.
We continue this 3 o'clock hour, and yes, the Big 12 in men's basketball. And anytime you have a day with everybody plays everybody, you're going to have some sledgehammer bangers, so to speak. As we enter the weekend, Houston at 7-3. Baylor, Iowa State 6-3. Kansas at 6-4. And then still above 500, TCU and Tech are 5-4. Oklahoma, Kansas State at 5-5. Let's start. We'll go in order. Well, the game in Lawrence, Kansas. KU hosting Baylor, 2 top 15 teams. KU 4th, Baylor 13th. A 5 o'clock tip at Allen Fieldhouse, which has never been kind to Scott Drew or pretty much anybody else.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because Kansas State had a big win at home and then a tough loss on the road to a rival who was reeling at the time, absolutely reeling, but they get to go back home, and they have the best elixir, which is Allen Fieldhouse juice. I mean, it is, it was just there last week. I keep waxing rhapsodic about it. It's a fantastic venue. Both these teams are very similar in that they both should be better than they are, but this is the Big 12. So I don't even know how much of a gauge we're going to get on how good they can be until they stop playing each other.
Yep.
It's one of those things that it's just such a battering ram and a ball of butcher knives or whatever you want to say that, there's going to be some ups and downs and ebbs and flows in this. I think Kansas is probably going to win the game just because they're at Allen Fieldhouse and Scott Drew nobody wins there that much. But and plus Kansas coming off that loss to Kansas State that they had an opportunity to take control in. But the one advantage Baylor has over Kansas is depth.
Yeah, they do. And let's just say they play not a perfect game, but let's just say they play really, really well, and Kansas is still good, and you could play really well and still lose there. But I'll throw this out. If Baylor somehow wins in Lawrence, then a Big 12 title is very much in play because I still think there's such a jumbled mess of everybody that even if you're at the top, you really don't know where you're going to be in a couple of weeks. But if they can win at Allen Fieldhouse, which, again, that's not something that they do, nor do many others, then all of a sudden you're putting yourself in a position to be legitimately in play to win the Big 12 title. Also, tomorrow, let's go to the first game, a 1 o'clock tip. The game is on ESPN2. By the way, that Kansas-Baylor game is on ESPN. TCU, kind of a surge, step forward, 2 steps back, on the road against Iowa State. Iowa State's absolutely in play when it comes near the top of the Big 12.
I think Iowa State's got Hilton magic here, and TCU's been just so scattershot, but they're both very good. I'll just take Iowa State at home, and what's probably going to be a really good game, and we'll see if those new coaching box enforcement rules apply to 2 coaches who are, one who is, like normal. Otzenberger's pretty normal when it comes to the coaching box and getting out of it.
He was out as much of that box on Saturday last week against Baylor as anyone was.
I would give him a normal grade as opposed to Jamie Dixon, who doesn't hear the words coaching box.
Yeah, he blurs that whole thing. He blurs that whole thing. So again, TCU on the road, Iowa State. TCU right now 5-4. They are 2-2 on the road. So this game is at again, Hilton Magic. Houston and Iowa State, the only teams in the Big 12 who have yet to lose a game at home. Oh, and of course, Kansas. We spoke about them and their unbelievable home record. Houston on the road at Cincinnati. We'll get to that in a minute. No word from the Big 12 on Kelvin Sampson's double ejection tirade. I loved it. And basically all but saying what Mack Rhodes said. Well, if I say he was questioning the officials by not questioning the officials.
Oh, it was very brilliant. And Houston's really great. Look, Cincinnati, they're tough. That's a tough out, and going to Cincinnati is going to be tough. They rolled the other night, so
they're right in the back. They're back in this thing, man. 15-7, 4-5 in the conference.
If you want to say the worst game they've played, in the last couple weeks was at Kansas, where they turned the ball over 3 times and somehow lost by double digits. That shows you that that's a good team that ran up against a team that was at home and shooting the lights out. So, you're going to have those games.
Everybody sometimes just has a bad one. And Cincinnati will not need Houston to have a bad one because they're pretty good. And that stat I threw out earlier in the week that anyone that's played Cincinnati, the following game, they're 0-9 from conference play, which is pretty staggering because they can beat you up and wear you out. UCF On the road in Lubbock, Texas Tech, we saw some of the stories that they've been under the weather and all that. You still have to play through it. They haven't really been able to, as they've lost 3 straight. Grant McCaslin Red Raiders lost in Waco, and now they get back home in Lubbock, chance to sleep in their own bed for a couple nights against UCF.
I think they'll be all right. Although UCF, man, Johnny Dawkins brings it. They don't mess around. So, but again, you go on the road in this conference, and everywhere it's a tough place to play. And let's see, 1 o'clock in the afternoon at Texas Tech is equivalent to...
It's 3 o'clock Central.
Yeah, no, but I mean, throw 3 o'clock Central. I'm sorry. 3 o'clock Central in Lubbock is probably equivalent to about 10 p.m. most cities on a Saturday. So I think they're going to be pretty tuned up for that one and ready to rock inside that arena.
I don't have this in front of me, but everybody in the conference, Houston has only lost 3 games overall. Everyone else has 5 losses or more, but everybody's kind of had a 2 or 3 game slide. Mm-hmm. And right now, Texas Tech is on that 3-game slide, and everyone else win 1, lose 1, win 1, whatever. Obviously, Baylor's won 3 straight, which is nice because they had come off a 3-game losing streak. All right, that game, Texas Tech, is a 3 o'clock tip, and also on ESPN+. Then Oklahoma State at OU. OU had a nice win earlier in the week. In the middle of the pack at 5-5, still in pretty good shape overall with who they've beaten, quadrant 17-6. They're at home on ESPN+ against the Stillwater, the fighting Mike Boyntons.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure how much fighting's there. Yeah,
yeah, I know. We keep saying it, but I feel for Mike Boynton because he had some real momentum going with that program. The NCAA pulled the rug out from under him for reasons. It was just silly. And Oklahoma, look, this was a top 15 team just a week ago, so they could very easily get back there. This is probably a nice win for OU. But look, there's rivalry juice here, and this is one of the last times that this game is gonna be played this way as conference rivals. So, there might be some juice there.
Yep. Oklahoma State has not beaten a top 10 team. Oklahoma's not a top 10 team, but again, that they've been in and out, like TCU's been in and out of the top 25. That's a 6 o'clock tip, and that game's on ESPN+. And then finally on ESPN2 tomorrow night in Provo, BYU, 21st ranked Cougars, at home against Kansas State. Jerome Ting and company. You get a nice adrenaline rush with the win at home against KU. That's a 9 o'clock Central tip up in Provo.
Tyler Perry went off the other night against Kansas. He
26, right?
Could not miss, and in big spots, and made clutch free throws, did everything he was supposed to do. He can keep that going and be that scorer that Kansas State just doesn't have. Like, they need games like that from him more often, because Naquan Tomlin is playing for Memphis now. So they lost their best scorer. They need a new best scorer to pop up. It's hard to do, but if that can be Tyler Perry, then they can start stringing together some wins because they're a pretty darn good defensive team. But BYU's really good, and again, they're at home. It's going to be rowdy in Provo.
They're 3-4 on the road, but BYU at home, or 2-4 on the road. They're 11-2 at home, and again, 2-2 though in conference play. So,
did we skip West Virginia and Texas?
No, I'm going to get to that. So, again, as we enter the weekend, Houston a half-game lead only because they've played one more win against Baylor and Iowa State. Now, a team that's 4-6, they've had some quality wins. Texas beat Baylor. Texas beat Oklahoma. They also then just beat TCU on the road, and so they have some quality wins, but lost earlier this week to Iowa State on the Longhorn Network against West Virginia. West Virginia and Oklahoma State, the only teams in the Big 12 that most likely finish under 500 at 8-14, 3-6 in the conference. They need a goose, but it's going to be tough, you would think, on the road in Austin.
Yeah, it is going to be tough. But, Texas, they make less sense than any team in the Big 12 to me because I think their lineup and their depth and everything.
Do they play up and down? This is a cop-out when you say that. Do they play up or down to the competition?
No, maybe. I don't know. Like, it varies. It varies, though. It really does. And the reason
they played at Oklahoma, they won. They played at home against Baylor, they won. They again, but they have that loss on the road. Was it to West Virginia?
Yeah.
And then also they had the loss at home to UCF. It doesn't make sense. But
they the whole is less than the sum of its parts, or whatever you want to say. Like, it's just a weird thing. They should dominate with the players that they have and
the experience and talent they have.
They should be. I thought they were going to be. Like Kansas, Baylor, Texas, Houston were going to be all year long, rolling 1, 2, 3, 4, and right now that's not the case. And I mean, it could change, but I thought that was going to be kind of the ebb and flow of when they went through.
They're 1-4 Texas at home in the conference.
I mean, it's insane. It doesn't make any sense.
The one win is against Baylor.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you
on a last-second shot.
So if you did the blind taste test of Texas's roster, like they used to do like Coke and Pepsi, and which one you like more. Most coaches, maybe not in the Big 12, but even some in the Big 12, most coaches in the blind Texas taste test, roster taste test, would go that one. And then when they found out, like, no, it doesn't work, it would blow their minds because, I don't know, their fans are going to be frustrated all year long because it just seems to be the identity of this team of.
I think if they don't win this one, they still have enough Big 12 games left, but if they don't win this game, and it's a home game, they're starting to flirt with being very close to being outside. Right now, they're outside the bubble. Right now, it depends on which bracketology you use. But, for example, the Big 12 has a nation-high, 9 teams projected in the tournament. 9. Houston, Kansas, Baylor, Iowa State, BYU, Oklahoma, Texas, Texas Tech, and TCU. There's 10, actually. So they're on it, but they've been in and out of that first 4 out, first 4 in. They got to be careful. I don't think they're going to – they lose to West Virginia at home. They're going to lose 3 or 4 more of the games because that they're in the conference. So that game is going to be on the Longhorn Network. All right, so that's the Big 12. As we enter the weekend, we're back with 365 Sports Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas.
Baylor alumni are more than 160,000 strong. When we all join hands to support our university, we don't just move the needle, we move mountains. Working together, we create life-changing opportunities for students on the field, in the classroom, in the laboratory, and in life for generations to come. So get connected. Get involved. Learn how at baylor.edu/alumni.
In our logo and advertising, we say we are people that you can count on. What does that mean? It starts with providing a quality vehicle and quality service at a fair price. But it also means we do what we say we will do, and we treat people fairly with respect. It starts by hiring great people, good local folks who work hard with a caring attitude. Our employees are the real reason we are people that you can count on. Put us to the test and see for yourself that at Richard Carr Motors, we are people you can count on.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Our good friend Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jewelers here at 365 Sports. Now, Brad, people who watch and listen to our show know I'm a double-time customer for you, engagement ring and wedding band, and you guys do that great, but that's not all you do at Boozer's Jewelers.
Absolutely, and I always like to say, it's a new year. It's a great way to start the year out. Go through your old jewelry. Go through your wife's jewelry box. Go through anything you're maybe not wearing, something that's broken, something that you're not using. We do a massive amount of custom work. We can take your old jewelry, old diamonds, old watches, and we can convert it into something special for you and make a one-of-a-kind piece of jewelry. And if that's not something you're interested in, a great thing is we can turn that into cash. So we buy gold, we buy diamonds, we'll buy Rolex watches, any kind of heirloom jewelry, anything that's maybe passed down to you.
Boozer's Jewelers, where do they find you, Brad?
We're at 1025 North Valley Mills Drive, right on the corner of Lake Air Drive and Valley Mills with the big clock on the corner.
This is 365 Sports. Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Super Bowl 58, NFL Media Headquarters, Radio Row inside the Mandalay Bay. David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Bill Miller, American Gaming Association. Is there an event that has more on it as far as gambling than the one this week?
I don't know enough about World Cup, but I would say that, it's probably the only thing that's even remotely close. This is this is it. This is the big enchilada for American sports. I was in London yesterday, and you're getting close to Premier League titles and all the rest of that stuff. But it's kind of funny when you get on the airplane in London and you see the map and you're leaving, how little the UK is, right? America, 330 million people, sports obsessed in a bunch of different ways. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing that compares to the Super Bowl. March Madness is close. And again, I don't exactly know what the World Cup looks like on a global basis, but in terms of sports fans, sports interest in and around football particularly, nothing at all like it.
So we are at a crossroads in the country where sports gaming is becoming legal in states.
Yep.
More and more and more. I was just actually in Kansas City. It's legal in Kansas. It's not in Missouri. Walking around, the guy tried to get me to sign a petition, and I was like, buddy, I would, but not going to help you here. I don't live here. So, but it is changing. What needs to happen so that we can get sports gaming in more places? And I know that obviously regulation and different things have to come down unified from the federal government, but what do you think are the next steps to kind of tearing down some of the walls?
Well, excellent question. Really interesting to see where we've gotten. Mm-hmm. For a long time, the only place in America where you could legally bet on sports was here in Nevada.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so, Governor Chris Christie, when he was the governor of New Jersey, he said, that's BS. We should be able to bet on sports. There is nothing in the Constitution that says that one state should have the monopoly on a business, and i.e. sports business. Sports betting's a business. And so he took this case to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court agreed and said there's absolutely no reason for this. And so what happened was the court said, we're not going to say the federal government should go fix this. They said, states, you all decide what you want in terms of sports betting. So look, there's states like Utah that'll probably never have. Utah doesn't have a lottery. They don't have any casinos. It's culturally not what their thing is. And so that's up to the policymakers, the stakeholders in the state to make those determinations. But man, I've been in government, advising government, lobbying government, doing politics almost my entire life. I've never seen anything move as quick from Supreme Court saying, Nevada should not have a monopoly on this, to 38 states plus the District of Columbia in less than 5 years. It's a remarkable move. Now, we still have some states, big ones too, Texas. California haven't figured it out, and Georgia. So there's still some, but to think about where we've come in 5 years is amazing.
What does it mean that Vegas, where the NFL was verboten gambling and all that, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we can get a piece of that too. But what does it mean that Las Vegas, what does it mean to Vegas and to you and what you do that Vegas is hosting this game?
Well, I think it's a great validator to America and the world that the gaming industry is mainstream adult entertainment. And I think that there was a very long time when leagues, not just the NFL, but others said, this gambling thing, we don't want it to touch anything in our sports because we are worried about integrity. And our argument was, look, you should of course be worried about integrity, always about the game, but the scandals that had happened, from the Black Sox scandals in the 1910s to the Boston College or other, they all happened in the illegal market. And so by legalizing gambling on and betting on sports, what you're doing is you're bringing it into the light of day. You're putting it under a licensed structure with regulators and law enforcement, so that you can be able to have better insight into, I don't know, anomalous activity. And there was this pretty prominent situation not too long ago where Alabama baseball coach, he threw another guy, bet against his own team because he knew that his starting pitcher, who was a ace pitcher, wasn't going to pitch. And so, it was the integrity systems that monitor betting activity that flagged it for the operators, that then flagged it for law enforcement, which then flagged it for the NCAA, who then said, okay, this is BS. This is a Tuesday SEC game between Alabama and LSU, and there is no reason that there should be this much money on it. The legal market sussed that out. And so that is an incredible advancement. And so Adam Silver did it. He really was quite helpful. I mean, he wrote an op-ed in the New York Times, I think it was in 2014 or 2015, and said, sports betting should be made legal because we want the transparency. We who run leagues should have better transparency. And so for people that live here, that that call Las Vegas home and call Nevada home, and that the gaming industry is now generations of people that have been in the business, this is a great validating moment for us. I mean, we have Las Vegas, we've got the Golden Knights, we've got now the Raiders, and
about to have the A's,
maybe. We go back. It goes back and forth, but I would say better, more likely than not.
You mentioned the integrity part of it there. Yeah. Also, I think the argument that I think that the people who are against it were seeing that were like, oh, well, there's going to be the Black Sox scandal again, and all this was, it benefits legitimate sports books to have the sunlight on them, because if they don't have transparency, if they don't have this, then they're not going to make. They're not going to go very far before the government gets involved in them. So it's mutually beneficial on both sides to have everything in the sunlight.
Look, Paul, we are, if not the most regulated industry, it's us and banking. There are very few. The due diligence that you have to go through to get licensed in a particular state is remarkable. And it's for good reason. They want to make sure that they have good operators in these states. And then for us, once you get a license, and then we're one of the highest taxpayers in almost every state we're in, us making sure that this is a long-term sustainable business, i.e., no one questions the legitimacy of the games, the outcomes of the games. We, more than anybody, have a vested interest in making sure that if you're going to make a bet on a particular game or a particular element of a game, that, it's why you have these injury reports, right? Mm-hmm. It's why you have the advanced understanding of, weather and all of the other things that would make people make decisions around betting. And look, I think that the leagues, NCAA, everyone, there has been a massive 180-degree change in terms of, look, there's more work for them to do, but there's also a lot of financial upside as well.
Yeah, there was a time when Tony Romo couldn't host a fantasy football league event here because the NFL's like, oh, my God. So the Mavericks were sold to the Las Vegas Sands Corporation.
Yes.
Mark Cuban. And we know that Texas doesn't have legal gambling at this particular time. Is that one of the first parts of that opening up that opportunity? They had the lottery in Texas, and
they do, and they got two little tiny tribal casinos.
Yeah, and if Jerry Jones wants something, doesn't always get it like the World Cup final, but when he gets involved in something, it can.
Or the Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole other thing. But is that the opening you see? That's a big state. We're in it. That's where we're from. I love it.
So look, you've got Texas state legislature meets every other year. You've got it's a challenging environment within the state legislature. Not everybody's supportive, but you do have people like Mark Cuban. You've got Jerry Jones, and now you've got Las Vegas Sands and Miriam Adelson, and I think that it's taking probably longer than some would hope, but with the number of professional franchises in the state of Texas, the sports-crazed individuals that are in Texas, we know that they want to bet on sports, and heck, more importantly, we know they do bet on sports.
Right.
But really, the only way they can bet on sports today is illegally. And so doesn't it make sense to legalize sports betting, and to the degree that, the legislature thinks it's important to, think through, different specific geographic locations for casinos and pair up that legislation, that's for the legislatures to decide. But I think that we're getting closer. It's just incremental.
Bill Miller's with us again, American Gaming Association at the Super Bowl, Radio Row here in Las Vegas.
So yeah, you said they do bet it anyway, illegal gambling. So what are the numbers that are going out for people who, again, can't do it legally? So they've got a guy. So
I think there are less guys. Because we've got more legal states.
Yeah.
But there are still a lot of people that have guys.
Yeah.
Or they have offshore online websites that are based out of Curacao or Malta or some other place. And the thing about them is, responsible gaming and responsible gambling is core to our long-term success.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that people that bet on sports understand they're not going to pay their rent or their mortgage, or should be commingled with their grocery bill, that this is fun in the same way they'd go to a concert or go out to dinner or buy something that's a non-essential thing. Online offshore sportsbooks don't care at all about that stuff. And they also don't care, sometimes if you win, they don't care about paying you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but we've been up against this for a long, long time. The online, the offshore, and the illegal market, the guy, and organized crime, these guys had decades of head starts on us, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've moved from one state in America that had legal sports to 38 plus DC in 5 years. And so all of those people that run illegal sports books, whether they be offshore or on, they're not happy about it. But what we've seen is there was a study that was done before the Supreme Court ruled that states should have the right to have legal sports books, that suggested it was about the illegal market was about $150 billion. Our most recent study that we did in terms of analysis showed it about $64 billion. So we're eating into the illegal market. Consumers want to pay. I mean, they want to play in the legal marketplace, but a lot of times they don't even know the difference. If you can find it on the internet, most people think it's legal.
Right. So is there a study of how much money is infused in a state based on illegal gambling? Is it like, why would a state not want that money coming? Like, for example, I came from a city that was a dry county. They did not have alcohol. They did not beer, no wine. And you had to go 15 miles one way or the other in Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Then they all of a sudden brought it in. Eventually, the churches or others that were not wanting it, they realized how much money was coming in. And now they're a massive amount of money. Why would that not be something that people would want in the first place?
I think it's a pretty compelling argument. And I think as we have seen more states legalize, the neighboring states look at it and say, I think it was Ed Rendell, who was the governor of Pennsylvania for a long time, and before that he was the mayor of Philadelphia. And when Pennsylvania didn't have casinos and they didn't have sports betting, he gave a press conference and they were saying, Governor, why are you supportive of putting in casinos here and sports books? He said, because I don't like seeing my constituents drive across the bridge to New Jersey to give them our Pennsylvania money.
Yep.
And so there is an element of FOMO, an element of, well, this should stay in our community tax for important social services. And look, we, in almost all of the states that we operate, particularly on the casino side, we're the highest taxpayer, bar none. We don't have those situations that Amazon or Jeff Bezos say, all right, these 8 states compete against each other to see how much money you can give us so that we will come to your town. No, like a casino, we go to a town that got left behind by the auto industry or the steel industry or some other industry, and these people have had no economic activity for decades, and we reinvigorate those towns and cities. And so same thing happens with sports betting. And so we definitely believe that where there has been historical opposition, it's a combination of people have been betting on sports as long as there have been sports to bet on. Policymakers understand and recognize that. That's why we've seen it happen so quick, is they said, okay, my constituents bet on sports. Let's make it legal and safe for them and get some tax money.
Well, look, if you live in Texas, you can go, especially you're Dallas, you can be at WinStar Casino, which the city should be called Barely, Oklahoma, because it's just across the line. And then, or you can go to Bossier City in Shreveport, which is, again, about 30 minutes across the line. So it's not like that far, and that money is going quickly out of Texas. And, again, you don't have to go very far.
Yeah, those parking lots are never empty.
No, and my friends, and we have a number of tribal nations that are members of the AGA, and they always talk about it as they're willing to pay for the the asphalt on the northbound side going up to Oklahoma, but look, we saw it in New York and New Jersey, right? New Jersey had legalized sports, and New York hadn't, and the technology is amazing today. So. Paul, if you were in New York and you had a DraftKings or sports betting app, you could open up your app in New York, but you couldn't make a bet. But the geolocation is so good that when you cross the Hudson River over into New Jersey, it would go live and you could actually make a bet. And so what you saw was, Hoboken, Jersey City, or all of these towns right on the other side of the river. It wasn't sports books because New Jersey had mobile. It was just guys going over on Saturdays and Sundays, and they're taking the PATH train over to New Jersey so they could have fun at a sports bar and legally bet on sports.
Bill Miller, American Gaming Association. It's the Super Bowl week. It is a massive week for them, and also for those who want to place a bet on so many different things. It's crazy, from not just the score, who wins, but many more. Thank you for your time, and good luck in the future.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me today.
365 Sports at Super Bowl 58 in Vegas continues on 365 Sports.
Developed by Startup Waco, a nonprofit organization, GXG is a program designed to support the entrepreneurial development of Baylor University student-athletes through NIL activations. The program helps student-athletes maximize their platforms and offers a comprehensive support system for them to create and grow new businesses that not only benefit themselves, but also uplift the local economy. Fans who wish to support student-athletes can donate to GXG via the GXG NIL Fund, BaylorBears.com/GXG. Contributions to support NIL activations through GXG can be made at BaylorBears.com/GXG. For more information, follow @GXG_GreenXGold on social media and visit the official website www.gxg.startupwaco.com. GXG, empowering student-athlete entrepreneurship and uplifting the local economy through NIL activations.
Penny Clinic Men's Healthcare in Woodway is now proud to offer you men an exceptional weight management body sculpting product called semaglutide, also known as Ozempic or Wegovy. Semaglutide is an FDA-approved weight management medication. Once-a-week injections of this powerful medication offers an average body fat weight loss of 20% within the first year of treatment. In addition to body sculpting, semaglutide also normalizes blood sugars and has the clinical research proof of reducing blood pressure, cholesterol, stroke, and heart attack risk. If you're like most men and you have stubborn fat that will just not respond to typical diets and exercise, then help is finally here. Semaglutide. Affordable, highly effective. Google search Petty Clinic Waco and reach out to the Petty Clinic team today for a free consultation with Dr. Petty to see if semaglutide is right for you. Go to pettycliniclowt.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine now has 2 locations to serve you. The original on Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street and the brand new spot in downtown Waco at 600 Franklin Avenue. If you're looking for the best in craft beers or local Texas bourbons, then the original is the place to be. And for the latest trends and online phenomenons, head downtown to the Franklin location. Either way, you're going to get the same great variety, customer service, and speedy experience. Check out both locations on their Facebook and Instagram pages, Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street, and now downtown on Franklin Avenue.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
This is 365 Sports. Text us at 254-339-1122. The text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
Back at Radio Row NFL Media Headquarters, Randy Grimes.
Sick 'em.
There you go. In Robert E. Lee High School.
That's right. That's right.
In Tyler, has been a staple of Radio Row with us for a lot of different reasons because of what he went through as a player and what he's doing now, which is courageous in many, many ways. And Mike Sisk, we've known you before from the low T.
Absolutely.
And now mind-body optimization. Great to have you here.
Here we go again.
Yes, we are.
Good to see you, man.
Now, you too. Paul Catalina, again, 365 Sports. Randy, we've discussed a lot of what you dealt with, abuse, drugs, all of that. And yet we really never we did get into the word of depression a few times, which is a huge hot word around the country for many reasons. But you did have that, didn't you? That's part of because you're battling through something.
Oh, absolutely. That's part of it. And, addiction takes you to all kinds of deep, dark places, and depression's one of them. And, I struggled for a long time with that. I was that guy willing to do whatever I had to stay out on the field, and one thing led to another that led to another, and to where, basically I am now. But it got really dark for a long time. And it wasn't until 2009, September, that I put up my hand and asked for help. And that's our message, is that it's okay to not be okay. But you got to raise your hand and ask for help, because there's hope and help out there. And it starts right here.
And you've been saying that message to us for, it seemed like at least a decade and a half or so
right.
or more.
For 15 years.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
it works. It works. And I think it's easier now for people to put up their hands. I think, the more we do this and talk about it, and people like Mike that come out and talk about it, it's tearing down that stigma,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah. When you started therapy and all that stuff, it's one of those things that's weird when you do it and then you realize, if my leg was broken, I would go to a doctor.
Right.
And then you're like, why haven't I been doing this the whole time?
Right.
What have I been so afraid of me just talking to this one dude in a room? It's such a silly thing to worry about.
And so much of mine, and I didn't know this until I got into professional treatment, but so much of mine was that depression from transitional trauma of not being an athlete anymore, losing that uniform, not having a playbook. I lost my whole identity that day. Sam Wash put his hand on my shoulder and said he wouldn't be needing my services anymore. And, man, depression just kicked in because I thought I was ready for it. But until it really happens, you're never ready for it.
Nate Boyer, U.S. Army Green Beret, was with us yesterday about the transition from military and or athletes into the real world after a career. What have you found out the response to what you're trying to do?
Well, it's tough. Guys don't like to raise their hand. But more importantly, a lot of people just don't know where to start. And that was the thing that I learned. Everybody that I've talked to about this has somebody in their life that it's affected. Yet nobody knows where to start to get help. And so that's why we started the company. Like a lot of times, I didn't know the difference between a psychologist, a psychiatrist, and a therapist.
Absolutely.
But they're very different, right? And so that's what we're having to do is educate people. But if you had a therapist and you needed drug management, you had to go back in the marketplace. It may be 2-3 weeks before you get an appointment. We've put it all under one roof.
Oh, man.
And, by the way, you don't mind me mentioning what you're looking at, or should I?
No, go right ahead.
He's been in Waco looking for a location to start the business in Waco, Texas.
Yeah.
Hey, come on.
I'm going to open them all over Texas. I've done it once.
Yep.
We're going to do it again.
You've been a tremendous entrepreneur, businessman.
My wife works in the industry. She helps run a mental health clinic. And
we've talked about that before.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Her problem is that she gets calls from people and they're like, can you see me tomorrow? And she's like, well, no, we're booked out for 3 months.
That's exactly right.
And so if it's really something like, is this something you really need, then they can make time. But also, it's not easy because if you really need help, having doctor after doctor after somebody to go tell you I really would love to help you, but everybody else needs help too.
And that's the frustrating thing. It's like you've gotten the courage to raise your hand, yet nobody can shake your hand.
Yeah.
And so one thing that we've committed is we will see you today. So Monday when we open in Southlake, no matter when you call us, we will see you today.
Did you hear the news today about Gary Patterson is now going to be a defensive analyst for Dave Aranda at Baylor?
I did
Hell
not.
has frozen over.
I did not hear that. Wow.
Of all the
I'm going to
people-
go read about that in a minute then.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He had that fierce bitterness with Baylor and Biles.
They were ugly to each other. Yeah.
Well, Kendall's at TCU,
Right.
and now he's at Baylor.
Yeah. It's a crazy world, huh?
Well, you had Petrino back at Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, you can't go home again.
Never say never. I mean, literally.
Randy, Gary told us one time at Big 12 Media Days when we asked him about his relationship with Art, he said, Art and I go on vacations together, and we were flabbergasted that would be a thing.
Is that right?
It wasn't.
We went to Cowboys training camp the next day, and Jancy Briles' daughter was working with the Cowboys, and she's like, no, they flew on the same flight to a convention last night.
I can't
always
see that.
always trying to turn that. Mike, tell everybody how they get in touch with you now, and I know you have many more locations you're opening up.
Absolutely. It's mindbodyo.com.
That's as simple as that.
Yes, sir.
Randy, what are your thoughts about, and I know we got to go, but Randy, what are your thoughts? Baylor's had a couple of back-to-back years where it has not been good. Aranda under the fire, under the heat. Mack Rhodes stuck with him. He's retooled his staff in a lot of ways. They've had a good offseason in the transfer portal and recruiting. Your thoughts about your alma mater?
Man, I'm just, NIL's changing the game. It's not going to be the same program and coaches are up against it. And, I don't envy the position that they've been put in and trying to keep a team together and getting the best players in there. But, I just I have to have faith that he's going to pull it off and get the best players that are possible out of the state of Texas.
Thank you very much. It's always great to see you with what you have done. An inspiration to a lot of people. And, Mike, what you're about to do help a lot of people that need the help. Thank you so much,
Yes,
Randy.
sir. Thank you,
Thank you very
buddy.
much. Good
Mike
to see you,
Sisk
man.
again, Mind Body, and Randy Grimes, former Baylor Bear on 365 Sports.
Allen Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go and international and missionary military travel is one of their unique specialties. Alan Samuels, House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560 or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
This is 365 Sports.
The Sikkim 365 app is brought to you by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Mejia.
Yes, sir. Mahar. Exactly. I see Tyler
Candle Company, my buddy Eric Horton, Calvin Beecham with us, David Smoke, and Paul Catalina at Radio Row NFL Media Headquarters. You're getting to be a staple of this.
I wouldn't say a staple, but I come here and do what I'm asked to do, and I keep it moving.
So you are known for what you do as an NFL player, but you're also known for being involved in so many great events, including what you do with your hometown, but also elsewhere where you play, where you've been. And I've asked you this before. Where did that come from? That comes from the roots of where you grew up, correct?
It does. You know, I'm fortunate to have two great parents. My dad, Kelvin Beecham Sr., my mother, Coletta Beecham. Got great-grandparents, John Wesley Beecham, and my grandmother, Lurleen Beecham, and my other grandmother, Betty Harris. I have a great support system back at home. Uncles and aunts who love me, who had tough love and showed me how to fight through adversity. So I had just a phenomenal set of and I was blessed to have a phenomenal set of parents, great family. No family is perfect by any means, but I had a family that loved me. We love God, we love Jesus, we love people, and it's allowed me to be the person that I am today.
By the way, Lurleen Beecher might be the most Texas name I've ever heard in my life. That is, you are Texan through and through, aren't you, buddy?
Without question.
Kelvin, you were here today with the Boys and Girls Club,
Boys
right?
and Girls Club, yeah.
Yeah. I know, like, Mejia is a smaller place.
It is.
Not really a Boys and Girls Club town.
No, not at all. YMCA was what I had in Waco. Dorsey Miller. Right there off of Waco Drive is where I got to go as a young person.
So what was it like today to take those kids around? And
It was good. It was good. The thing is you know, I never had the opportunity. That's what I loved about doing the camp in Mejia is I never had the opportunity to see what the game and everything else around the game offered you. And to have a young person, 10 years old, Alex, he loves soccer, to have the ability to walk around and meet players and be on, podcasts, we had him actually run his own podcast in the back, so give him the opportunity to kind of be exposed. Those are things that we didn't have in Mejia, Texas. So to be able to pour that into another young person and allow that young person to pour it into another young person. It's the cycle, and I just want to be a part and a positive contributor to the cycle.
You mentioned your parents, grandparents, the family, and all that. Was there somebody outside of that had a big impact on you?
You know,
I know there's probably been.
Well, it's coaches, man. I had phenomenal coaches. I had Coach Huggins. I had Coach McGilvery. I had Coach Adair, both Shane and Larry Adair.
Yep.
I had Coach Shannon Wright. Man, I had phenomenal coaches. Coach Pinson, rest his soul. But I had a number of just great coaches and great mentors early on in my career, especially high school career, that propelled me to what I needed to be in college. And I had great mentors in college and great coaches in college that propelled me to where I am in the National Football League. And when I got into the National Football League, I had great teammates and had great coaches and great mentors that have propelled me to where I am today. So it's our mentorship that's helped me today.
We've talked to a lot of people about life after football. You've started setting that up when you were in college. Like you would always plan this out. You always knew that one day I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. I'm not going to do it, and moved on. Do you see that changing in the league now? There's maybe more awareness about that because, it is a regimented life, and then all of a sudden it's just, that's it.
It's it. The thing is, I think people realize that this can literally end at the drop of a dime. I think, seeing what happened with DeMar Hamlin a couple years ago, I think people realize how frail this game really is, and I think that shook some people and woke some people up in that particular regard to realize that you need to make sure that there's something else that you can go to. There's something else that you can do. And there's something else that brings joy and passion to your life. I've been blessed and fortunate to have people that have helped me in that particular regard.
You've played this game a long time now.
I've played this game a long time. I would have never thought coming out of Mahia, Texas, I would have been playing this long, to be honest with you.
How about your alma mater in college now being a part of the Power 5, Atlantic Coast Conference? A little bit interesting.
ACC. Man, I was saying this with the fan down the way earlier today. I said, SMU is now put the weight of all that capital to work legally.
Yeah.
We put it to work legally, so I'm happy for the alma mater. I'm glad that things are starting to trend in the right direction. I'm glad that not only football but other sports are getting the national recognition that we need. We're doing the things that we need to do on the academic side now to be able to divert some of those resources to athletic to make it truly competitive. I think seeing what happened with TCU and getting to the national championship, I think that showed the power of college sports and the power of media and the power of sports at the largest scale, and I think that rubbed some SMU alumnus the wrong way.
I like Kelvin so much. I hate to apologize, but you're going to lose that first ACC game, buddy, to my Knowles. I just want you to know,
bro. I saw the thing on the screen when I saw it. You took it down. I'm like, oh, he's a.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So I'm sorry. I mean, I'm behind you. All the rest of them.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, hopefully the thing is y'all come out and play a little better than y'all played in that bowl game.
Oh, wow. Man.
Oh, worth it. Worth it.
Worth it for me.
Worth it.
My God. I know you got to go, but we appreciate your time. But next year, the Cardinals and your contract, everything –
I got another year left on the contract, so going into year 13, and we will see.
13.
I know, man. It's
You're
crazy.
a pup.
Still.
I mean, I'm always going to think of you as like little Kelvin Beachum. I really am. 13 years veteran. My God.
Yes, sir. 13.
I missed Kelvin, I think, by a year. I was doing the Mahia games those couple of years. I missed you by a year, I think.
Yeah.
You graduated
07.
Yeah, I did.
So going forward, the NFL has about 6 or 8 teams that make it for the first time. The next year it regurgitates. There's 4 to 6 teams that make it again. What do you think? What is the future with Arizona?
The thing is if we do the things that are necessary with building the roster and constructing the roster in the right way, that puts us in a position to be a playoff contender. Because the thing is, you can't go from, hey, we were 4-13 to, hey, Super Bowl contenders. No, there's steps in it. There's a process. And I think that this regime is really all about the process. So being able to get from where we were last year to put us in a position to be able to draft well and have the youth that's needed to put us into the ability to be a playoff contender and win the division. Got to win a division, got to be a playoff contender. But I think we're trending in the right direction from a process standpoint.
2 first-round picks, as a matter of fact.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know you got to run. Always great to see you,
sir.
man.
Always great to see you both. I got to get down to Waco, Texas.
Kelvin Beacham, 365 Sports. Samantha Duvall, TexasBeefHouse.com. The auctions keep on being, from what I can tell, a great success, Samantha.
Yes, and they are so much fun. We have people that come out that have never been to any type of auction, and they have so much fun. You can hear and feel the energy in the room, especially when people are high-fiving each other when they've won a lot, or you can tell when people are just bummed when they didn't get that one and they're waiting for the next one, but the energy is just so awesome.
Your father said it's been so successful, you're looking at doing even more and more into the future. Is that correct?
That is correct. We don't have a date yet, but we're looking at maybe possibly sometime in April doing another one. And this one will again be a live auction along with being able to bid online for people that are not local. Farm-raised, aged Wagyu beef. And now people can get it as they want it. The fact that they can control how much they buy and also how much they pay. How really cool is that? What we like to call it is price discovery. So we don't want to put a price on our product. We want you to decide what you want to pay for our product. So you get to bid what you want to pay. Samantha, this company has really gone off. You guys are like setting the standard. What are other people in your profession saying about what you're doing? After this last auction, we had people reach out to us from Arkansas, from Oklahoma, just so excited for what we're doing because it gives them the opportunity to maybe do this possibly in the future too. So we've had a lot of positive feedback from other ranchers. Super Bowl coming up February the 11th. Chiefs against the 49ers. You can still order online before then, and this coming week we'll ship Monday through Wednesday. We've got flank steak, flap steak. We've got hamburgers that you can order and get shipped to you. And you know that we're a really big Chiefs fan because Patrick Mahomes is from our hometown. Right there in your backyard. That's Samantha Duvall, the great company that continues to set the standard in the beef business at TexasBeefHouse.com.
Shop big savings during the Ram Truck Month at Allen Samuels in Waco. Ram 1500 is the most luxurious and technologically advanced Ram 1500 ever. There's a great selection on the lot and ready for immediate delivery. Ram Truck Month sales event is a winner at Allen Samuels in Waco.
Thank you for calling your local Marco's Pizza. We're turning up the heat with our new Reaper Cheesy Bread. Fresh, house-made dough is topped with a spicy cheese blend infused with jalapeno, habanero, and Carolina Reaper peppers. At only $5.99, this limited-time product is a hot deal. Add it to your order while you can. A Marco's team member will be with you shortly.
Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it, and that offer on the Reaper Cheesy Bread is available right now at any of the 5 Marco's Pizza locations in Waco, including Belmead, China Spring, Robinson, Woodway, and Hewitt. Order online at Marcos.com. Call for a pickup or delivery. Marco's Pizza is turning up the heat with their all-new Reaper Cheesy Bread with fresh, hot, house-made dough topped with a spicy cheese blend infused with jalapeno, habanero, and Carolina Reaper peppers. And only $5.99 and for a limited time only. Marco's Pizza, the fastest-growing pizza brand in America. 5 locations in Waco. And the new Reaper Cheesy Bread. Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Enjoying the show? Hit the like button and subscribe.
.365 Sports here on Radio Row at Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. Kevin Malone, former general manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, once named the best GM in the game in 1995, retired in 2001. And I want to talk about your book about human trafficking.
Thank you.
And it is every year at the Super Bowl, there's kind of an issue that starts to come to the forefront. In the last couple of years, we've heard a lot more about human trafficking and, you know, the crisis at the border that we're having, which is a humanitarian crisis. It's a political, it's all kind of like, it's about 100 different intersecting crises.
Yes, sir.
And part of that is the human trafficking element of it. What brought you from baseball to this and being so passionate about it and trying to help the issue that people may not really know all that much about? It's kind of out there and they hear it.
Well, I resigned from the Dodgers general manager's position in 2001, took some time off, and then worked for a small Christian college. Then owned a Mercedes-Benz dealership with Eddie Murray, Hall of Famer from the Oreos, and then I sold that in 2010. But I started hearing about human trafficking, and I went to Thailand with my pastor, Francis Chan, and while in Thailand, I went to a rescue house where there was 80 kids, 4, 5, and 6 and up, that had been sold as sex slaves, and it broke my heart. Came back to America. This was now 2009, and started investigating, do we have a problem in America? And we did. It was just not being talked about. So I started getting involved in 2000. It started in 2009, and then in 2014, I started full-time in this, and then I started a couple different nonprofits, and we have offices in 5 cities. The local one I moved to Vegas 6 years ago from LA to fight child sex trafficking on the Strip and in Clark County. We've got a huge problem with men coming here with excess cash, and then they want to have sex with kids or with whoever. So I'm just trying to protect kids from this evil, and God's kind of called me to do this. I had a good run in baseball, 17 years, owned a Benz dealership for a few years, and now I believe I'm fighting for kids, trying to educate people what predators and pedophiles look like, how to protect kids, why we all need to get in the fight. So I wrote this book, Malone, Scouting the Enemy, to talk about what is your purpose in life and how do you fight for things that you need to fight for. So it just came out. It's not on Amazon. It's on a website. I'm just trying to do a grassroots deal. Malone-scoutingtheenemy.com is where you can order it.
Well, I will definitely order it.
I got one for you.
Oh, good.
I got a gift for you.
Okay, great. I can't wait to read it. I am Garrett and I are both voracious readers.
Well, see, I don't run into people anymore. Everybody says they read.
Oh, no.
I love reading.
No,
I'm going to give right here online. Here's a book for both of you guys.
Okay,
That's
great.
what it looks like.
There you go.
And here's one.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Well, absolutely. I mean, look, we've got a plane ride back, too.
180 pages, you can read that in a couple hours.
We got back to Central Texas. We had a bust in Central Texas, a human trafficking bust that our sheriff worked very hard to do. And when it happened, you're like, here, even you say here we're not small, but we're very medium, and it wouldn't be. You tell me Vegas, okay, well that makes sense,
right?
But Waco, Texas, it's really, and it makes you think if it can be here, it can be absolutely everywhere.
Well, that's true. What people don't realize is that it is in every town, county, and city and state in America. I've been to Waco. There's some good organizations in Waco fighting this. So Texas, big state. A lot of people, they say it's one of the largest states for child sex trafficking. I think the governor's trying to do a good job. I think the attorney general's trying to do a good job. I do a lot of work in Florida, obviously here in Vegas, but this isn't just for politicians or law enforcement that they're part of the solution, but it's regular people. What I try to do is educate people, get them engaged in the fight, train them. So on both of my websites, I have all these trainings and curriculums on how to learn how to identify the problem and how to get involved, what you can do to get in and we equip people to get in the fight. So I appreciate you guys having me on your show, because our kids are under attack, and it doesn't matter if you're black, white, any color, or any socioeconomic background. All of our kids are being targeted, and we need to protect our kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't it weird? And it's kind of a a God thing, right? That you had this skill in scouting baseball players, and you can take similar things about that and apply it in a different way, because you came up hey, this guy can throw, this guy can hit, this guy, this is a 5-tool player. Okay, well, how do you apply this thing, which seems to be, and it's very complex, scouting a baseball player. People may not even understand.
No, I go into detail in the book. I think you guys will like that, but I think what you're talking to is knowing the enemy. So I was with the Minnesota Twins in '91. I covered the Braves the last 18 games. Yeah. I did the scouting report on the Braves, and Tom Kelly had me speak to the team before Game 1 in the Metrodome. So 2 guys asked questions. Kirby Puckett said, who should I shade to what gap? And Jack Morris said, who's first ball, fastball hitters? So, but I had this report. It was like War and Peace, but one of the greatest moments, I was a young scout, and I did all this work on the Braves. Tom Kelly, in Game 6 or 7, grabbed the scouting report off the back of the bench and looked at it. Now, I don't know. I'm going to say yes. I helped us win the World Series, but I can't say that for sure. But it was a lot of fun for a young scout. So this book also will help people to recognize different types of enemies. There's spiritual enemies, and I go into detail with Moses. Not that I'm saying I'm Moses, but Moses led the slaves out of Egypt. So how to fight trafficking and slavery. So it's really it's a memoir of stories. Tom Brady's in there, as I mentioned. Yeah, drafted him in the 16th round. I was the general manager of the Expos. We offered him $500,000. He wanted to play football. Went to Michigan, sat for 2 years. I think he made the right decision, don't you? But Tom Brady was a left-handed hitting catcher with power, had arm strength, and I thought he could have been an all-star, possibly a Hall of Fame major league player. So there's a story about how that workout went. We worked him out in Candlestick Park. He's from Sarah High School. So that's in there. There's some funny stories and some interesting stories and kind of some sad stories about certain things that happened. But I think it will touch people, and it's a good read.
Yeah, I can't wait. Okay, I remember the 91 World Series. I remember where I was. My family had just moved to Fort Myers.
Twin spring training.
Yeah, so we had, we'd gone to spring training that year. Actually, I think we hadn't gone that year. We went the year after 92, but we were excited about being there, and I can still see in my head staying up late and watching Dan Gladden jump on the plate for that winning run. Yeah.
Well, I think about the home run that Kirby took away.
Yeah.
All the games were one-run games. Jack Morris won 3. It was like the first World Series, I think, in a long time that captured all baseball fans' attention. Even if you weren't a Twins or Braves fan, every game was exciting. There was big plays, crazy plays, good pitching, timely hitting. So, and then, there's been some exciting World Series since then, but I think 91 kind of, and then I was the Expos GM in 94, the strike year. We had the best team in baseball.
I was going to ask you about that.
74-40. We thought we were going to play the Yankees in the World Series. We were pulling ahead of the Braves, who were the team to beat. And, I loved Montreal because we always played with a chip on our shoulders. It was us against the world. Small market team, Montreal, not much respect, but we like to just beat people. And it was so much fun. So I learned a lot in Montreal. I couldn't speak French, but I could say we beat your butt in English. And that way. But it was a lot of fun. And, 17 years, I thank God for the opportunity. And then, as I said, I owned a Benz dealership with Eddie Murray. And then I've been doing this for a long time. This is evil. It's dark. And my wife says, why are you always angry? Well, you know why I'm always angry, because I'm fighting against evil, and it's heavy. It's heavy sometimes. And a lot of people don't want to talk about it. I appreciate you guys letting me mention it and talk about it, because our kids are under attack. They're being targeted. As you mentioned, American men are the number one consumers of sex from children in the world. We had just 33% of all kids that are trafficked in America are boys. People don't know that. And now you got open borders. So we used to have just the American kids. Now you've got kids from all over the world. You go to L.A. right now, it's like Sodom and Gomorrah. There's kids being sold on the streets. The DA over there says stand down to the police. So it's like anything goes. It's like everything's upside down. So I'm just trying to wake people up and encourage people. I know Governor Lombardo here in Nevada. I know the sheriff here, Kevin McMahill. I'm always encouraged. They need to do more. They're trying, but law enforcement can't solve this. We as a people need to protect our kids and do what we can as a community. What they say, the kids are our future, children are our future. If we don't protect our children, what is our future going to be? We got people overdosing on fentanyl, kids. We got highest rates ever of suicides among kids. We've got trafficking kids. Our kids are under attack, being told they're a girl when they're a boy. We could go on and on, but we got a lot of problems.
Yeah, absolutely. It's true. So I want to ask you, of all the people you scouted and brought up, and there are tons. That Expos team you had was so crazy good. Is there one in particular that you feel was the diamond, and that's the one that I really, No,
that's a great question. I'm going to say somebody that I didn't draft, but Marquise Grissom. I don't know if you guys remember Grissom. I tried to trade him to the Braves, and that hurt. After the 94 strike, I traded him that offseason to the Braves. But Marquise, my friend Eddie Creech, he was at Florida A&M. Mm-hmm. Took him in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. But what about Marquise? He had this ability, but he was kind of crude or raw, so he didn't really know how to do certain baseball things. So We were in Jamestown, New York, in the New York Penn League that particular year, and every day we'd show up 2 hours early. He and I would be the only ones there. We'd hit off the tee, soft toss, do different drills. That guy had all this ability, could steal bases, could hit for power, could throw 95 from the mound, had great arm strength, great defender, but he worked. He went 0 for 54, no hits, and he was talking about quitting because he called me Malone. He said, Malone, I think I want to go home. He's frustrated. He hadn't got a hit in like 2 weeks. And I said, don't worry. He actually came out of that, ended up hitting like 380. You couldn't get him out in like the rest of the season. But Marquise Grissom is one of my favorites. You know, I traded for Sean Green, brought him from Toronto. What a great guy off the field. I tell people all the time, there's 3 guys that if I broke down at 3 in the morning, you could call Sean Green, he'd show up, Marquise Grissom, and Rondell White, who was an old Expo player. So what I miss about the game is competing. I love to beat people, so whatever it is, I'm a bad loser, terrible loser. I mentioned that in the book, so you get a kick out of that. But I think it's that team working as a team. So that's why I try to build teams to fight child sex trafficking. It's hard though. It's really hard, and sometimes we use metrics and KPIs and measurements to gauge our success in production, but it's not like in sports where at the end of the season you either won it all or you didn't. This is always like there's a lot of vagueness to it, and
there's never going to be a championship.
No,
right? You're just going to take the little wins along the way.
And sometimes those little wins don't seem to be enough. But when you rescue a child, because I work with rescue teams, I don't do those personally, or a child comes out of our home that's got a chance now to survive. That's it's worth it. It's like that's one person is worth it, but I'm so used to things on a grand scale, but one at a time. And but I need more people in the fight. A lot of people look the other way. They're not interested. It's evil. It's too dark. Unfortunately, what people don't know is most of the kids that are being bought and sold in this country are African American or Hispanic. So we got vanilla white America that seems to turn away. Hey, they're not our kids. Well, I want to call out American in general. No matter what color kids are, they're kids. They need a chance. They need to be protected. And I'm calling out African American men. Where are you guys? I don't see any in the fight. I've asked a bunch of African American celebrities, why don't you help me in this fight? And they look away. I don't know what the deal is. I don't care who they are. I don't care how much money you made or how many home runs or touchdowns. So you need to protect kids. That's as important as anything else. But there's apathy in this country right now, and there's a lack of concern for others. So that's what I preach, and a lot of people don't want to hear it, but I don't care. I've been upsetting people my whole life. Why change now?
Well, I appreciate your candor and your fight towards something that has a true good end. I want to ask you one more baseball question.
Sure.
We'll let you go.
Okay.
Ohtani is a unicorn. I mean, there's not like
special. Very special. It's worth the price of admission. I wouldn't pay to see many guys. I'd pay to see him.
Yeah. So what do you think of the deal that your former team made for him, especially with all the deferred money?
I think it was a great deal. Nezzy Balelo, his agent, is a buddy of mine, and he's probably one of the best agents in the game as far as a person. But all backloaded, all deferred, that's steal. I mean, if he's going to defer every $680 million away and just live on $2 a year. I mean, I know he can borrow against it and all, but
he'll also have his endorsements. And
we don't
even know how much money. We can maybe know how much money he makes here, but in Japan, how much money in Japan does he get for?
It's crazy.
Just doing that, hey.
but from what I understand, talking to Nezzy, he's a great guy, and he wants to win, and he tries to do the right things. And you got Mookie Betts, you got Freddie Freeman, you got Ohtani. That's 3 pretty good players there, aren't they?
Yeah. We know.
Are you guys Astros? Don't tell me you're Astros fans.
No. We're Rangers. We're Rangers in our area for the most part. I grew up a Red Sox fan. Because of Fort Myers. I went to the spring training all the time. So I love Mookie Betts like he's my brother or something.
But it broke your heart when he came
killed me. It killed me. Trade him, get something back. It just wasn't a great. I understand sometimes, and maybe he didn't want to stay there long term. I think he kind of did, but maybe he wanted to be in LA. That's fine, but get something back that you're gonna trade a generational talent for. That it bothered me, but Max Muncy Muncy went to Baylor. And so,
there you go.
Yeah.
I love the way he plays the game. Somewhat limited, but boy, he can hit. And the thing I'd say about the Dodgers that I really like, they go out and they'll sign these big price guys. They emphasize scouting and player development. I like organizations that go after and scout and sign and develop those young guys, because you need a balance. You need a couple of those young guys that can kind of bring some life and youth to your team. The Dodgers do a good job. The Braves do a good job.
The Rangers are doing a really good job. Chris Young.
They really are.
Yeah, they really did.
He's a good one. So
yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, thank you guys for having me on the show, and all the best to you. And I hope you enjoy the read. I think you might.
Here's the book, Kevin Malone, Scouting the Enemy. I cannot wait to read it. It'll be my plane read for sure.
Good.
Kevin Malone on 365 Sports.
Allen Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget, from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go, and international and missionary travel is one of their unique specialties. Allen Samuels House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560, or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Here's Purdy with a lot of time. Steps into one. Launching deep. Going for Brandon Ayuk. It is. Oh, he caught it off the ricochet. Penalty. Is he in?
Live from Radio Row at Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas, this is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com.
Here's Kansas City from the 19. Throwing at the goal line. And it's caught by Kelce for the touchdown.
Our coverage of Super Bowl 58 is brought to you by Allen Samuels House of Travel, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, TexasBeefHouse.com, IdealMRI.com, Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine, Marco's Pizza, Rogue Media, Camille Johnson Realtors, The Tyler Candle Company, United Nissan.
Third down, four-man rush. Purdy in some trouble. Escapes, looking for the first down. He's got it and more. Brock Purdy with the legs inside the 30.
365 Sports is turbocharged by Unite Private Networks. Find out more at UnitePrivateNetworks.com.
2nd and 10 to the end zone again, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Deion Bush, who just came in 2 plays ago for Mike Edwards.
Now here's David Smoke and Paul Catalina.
and Nate Boyer on earlier. These are the Air Force Thunderbirds. They're going to fly over Allegiant Stadium. In fact, Captain Turner, you're going to be on top of the roof.
That's right.
Not in the Thunderbird, but on top of the roof.
Firm. So we have 8 pilots on the team. So 6 of them will be doing the flyover. I'll be on top of the stadium calling time updates so that they can make sure that they hit right as we hit Home of the Brave.
Yeah, I've always wondered that. I've been to a lot of places where there've been the outdoor stadiums and the flyovers, and I don't know if there's even college games, the emotions of just knowing what that means. Do you get that way too? Or are you just kind of used to it?
Well, a little bit is part of the job, but anytime you can hit a TOT perfectly, you get the rush and you enjoy it with the pilots as they're hitting it too.
Natalie Winton, maintenance director. You can't fly it without it being in good shape, right?
You got it.
How much
exactly
time
right.
do you spend on that?
We spend quite a bit of time. We have 2 shifts of our maintainers who work. So not 24-hour operations, but they're ready to go if they need to be, and 7 days a week if they need to be. They spend a lot of time making sure the jets are safe and a lot of time making sure they look really, really good.
It's still amazing to me. And also Randy Winther, executive officer. So do you just oversee the whole thing? Well, Garrett, is mic on? Or mic's not on? Are you there?
Hello.
There you go. Thank you, Randy. So are you like the general manager of this whole thing?
Yeah, so there's a lot of like administrative stuff that occurs, and when a pilot is trying to fly as close and precise as he does twice a day, it doesn't lead for a lot of time to do admin. So him and I split our duties, and I do the admin and he does the flying.
All right, so let's go through a normal day. Like you wake up a normal day. You guys are obviously a part of the United States Air Force, the Thunderbirds. It's an amazing, if you've never seen it before, it's amazing. Even flight shows and things like that, it's incredible. So how does the day start, let's say, for you? Are you already working on whatever parts of the plane that morning, bright and early?
Correct. Yeah, so we're the first ones to show every day. We come in 3 hours prior to our first takeoff. So we're in making sure that the jets are ready to go. You have to pull off the covers that we have installed, get the cockpit set up. So we're there 3 hours before we do our first takeoff. And we got to have our Wheaties in us because sometimes it's really, really early mornings. Good thing the Super Bowl's in the afternoon. We get to sleep in a little bit on Sunday.
You get a little night time. Yeah. Do you have like briefings and all that? Is that what you run yourself?
I don't do the briefings.
Okay.
I'll help make the schedule leading up to it. So that's also why the commander has such a long day, is because it's brief, flying, debrief, and then sometimes rinse and repeat for that.
Bryce, you've flown it, right?
I have flown next to him, so this year I'll be on the ground. I'll do all the announcing at the air shows, and then the following year I'll flow into the demonstration.
Can you try to explain, though, just being near it, like the power and the the efficiency of a Thunderbird?
Oh, absolutely. So we get very qualified pilots on the team because it takes very precise maneuvering to stay that close. We fly closer than your typical pilot would next to each other, so that requires lots of repetition because it's a perishable skill. So they'll do 2-a-days, 6 days a week to get the formation tight. We'll go 2.5 months before our first air show. So this will be our first public event of 2024.
Are you guys excited? Is anxiety, a good nervous energy? Is that what it's like?
Flyovers always bring so much emotion because you just are waiting for literally 1 second of the day. And so it's like, oh, cool, that was done. Wow, that was a lot to get up for that
So all
one.
those hours leading up to it and all the hours after it is like right there, the timing of 1 second.
Exactly. But it's great. It's like
when it hits, and you guys hit it, when it hits, what's that like for everybody?
Oh, it's an absolute rush. It's great. You love it.
Yeah.
You're just up there cheering.
And there's teams someone's gonna lose on Sunday. If it's a half a second off, is that a disappointment?
Yes.
Is it really?
We pride ourselves on literally like the most perfect thing, almost unbelievable attention to detail is what we say. So having that type of precise air power that's given, we don't want it to be, it'll be like lukewarm if we miss.
Yeah.
You know?
So, okay, you have players who are in the NFL for the Chiefs and obviously the 49ers. Some of them, obviously, most of them played college football. Then some of them have been waived by other teams or cut. Some of them have had to bounce back from an injury or whatever. Do you have like a rotation of pilots How? No?
So the 6 demonstration pilots that will fly over for the Super Bowl for the flyover.
These are the 6.
These are the 6 demonstration pilots for the United States Air Force Thunderbirds for 2024. There's no backups, there's no fill-ins, there's no time off. Like if someone is sick, we have a flight doc, so if that doctor can help get them well to fly, they will do everything possible to get there. But we also have contingency shows for regular air shows. But right now we are doing all of the things, including vitamin C and well rest and hydration to get us there.
In Vegas, of all places, right? To make sure they stay focused on what it is. So 6, and that's it for the rest of the year, and it's February.
Correct. And then in November of 2024, we will trade out half of those people. So 3 people will move on, one of which will move up, and we'll hire 2 new people this year.
What would it mean to you if you ever got that call or you were told that you're moving up?
Well,
I mean, that's
it'll
what you
be
expect to
expected,
do, right? Yeah.
So as long as boss doesn't fire me this year,
Are
I'm
you
looking
the boss?
forward. That's true. She could be the one that fires me. So.
Can you try to explain? You talk about this 1 second. And I've been at flyovers as a fan or in a media setting, watched it on television, and to me it's an emotional rush. My father was military, and it just, you don't have to be military or have been a military brat to feel that. But can you try to explain in all your different ways the efficiency of what that 1 second and how long it takes to make sure you do it?
Well,
in all the different roles we have here.
So getting to that 1 second starts from the very beginning of winter training. So as soon as we got the team together in December, it was them practicing, again, twice a day so they could get in the formation position and be tight enough to absorb any kind of airspeed changes the boss will be required to do to hit that 1 second. For the ground crew, we did 2 run-throughs this morning. We'll come back on Friday. We'll listen to the national anthem practice. We'll see kind of how that timing flows. We're talking to the production box. Mm-hmm. We're talking to everyone just so we can make sure that we have a good idea of what that time will be to hit that plus or minus 0 seconds. And then on game day, we'll have to make audibles as required, just like the players will on the field.
Audibles, there's a football word. Quarterback calls audibles, right? Offensive linemen have their audibles.
So we may have to call those.
You're essentially the quarterback of this in terms of like 2T changes and stuff like that.
Potentially, yeah.
Like boss is there executing, and he's the one that's helping that execution hit the mark. So
what was it like this morning to wake up? It's been nasty. The weather's been iffy, but this morning was crystal clear for the most part because I ran a little bit this morning, and it was gorgeous. I mean, you could see the snow-capped mountains, etc. What was that like to get that today?
So I will say, I think I have one of the greatest jobs on this team, which is coming out onto the flight line, and I can see Vegas from where we walk out on the flight line. So having a clear day and being able to see all of Las Vegas from where we're about to launch those jets is the coolest thing. When you can't do that, it's not a great day.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask an obvious question. It's an indoor stadium. It's a dome. It's Allegiant Stadium, and there's more and more of those now than ever before. Does that make a difference?
For the flyover timing and how we're going to hit it, absolutely not. We're going to be 500 feet over the stadium, so everybody inside is going to feel the reverb, the building shake. They'll see the shadows as they go over. But we're doing this not just for the people in the stadium, but for everyone watching on TV. So they'll get a nice, good view as we come soaring across.
Randy, what's it like to be a part of the military and be a part of the United States, those who help protect our freedom?
Yeah, it's pretty much of a speechless answer to that. I don't really know how to actually answer that because it's more of like a feeling, and I don't think I'll ever know my impact until like 20 years when it's my time to like walk away from the Air Force, and then I have that phone call from someone that perhaps I supervise, and they're like, hey, thanks for like guiding me through X, Y, and Z or something like that. But I followed my mom in her footsteps through the military.
I was going to ask you how you got into this, yeah.
And I think now seeing her be proud of my career, I'm like, yeah, Mom, I did it. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Whereas now she's just kind of like living it up, and I think that's probably when I will actually have that like aha moment.
Natalie, how'd you get into it? What was the connection?
Both of my parents were in the Air Force as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
And that inspired me. I grew up doing this, living on base, and that sense of community that we have is absolutely fantastic. And I wanted to give that to a future family as well.
Bryce, same thing?
Same thing. My dad was a pilot in the Air Force, and growing up, I just wanted to do exactly what he did. So
Was he flying during some of the I guess, engagements we've had around the world?
Yeah, so he flew in Desert Storm and Allied Force.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, thank God, everything good, everything. As a military, Brad, you were talking about living on base, and you know, we hear about the melting pot of the United States. We hear about people getting along, different cultures, different races, different religions, or whatever. Is there a better place to learn that than on an Air Force or Army or any kind of installation that's a military base?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you like the whole country to be like what we
Yes.
experienced? And I'm much older than you, of what I learned about other people. We are one.
Oh, yeah.
And
Exactly.
it's on the military bases all the time. And I went to a high school, one of the few high schools was on the Air Force Base in Japan.
Yep.
And then also in San Antonio, Randolph Air Force Base. And I just wish people could experience that have not had that opportunity. Can you kind of put that into words rather than what I'm saying or not?
No, I mean, I think you said it like really good. I mean, it's almost like it's a melting pot of people and different types of backgrounds, and it's even like different states too. You know, if you just stay in your own community, you like eat the same food, see the same people, know the same things, but like even meeting like two people from Colorado and Virginia and just being like, oh, cool, like never had I thought I was going to go to Virginia. Like there's an expert, you know, you don't have to like resort to Google to like figure out the good places, like figure out what the locals do, and then you're not going to waste any time having fun.
You mentioned the game's late, and I know you guys got to go to other. It's great to have. This is great. When I asked if we could get you, I wasn't sure we're going to get you, and it's great you're here. What's it like on game day? You have a long wait, and sometimes if you're an athlete, man, you got to make sure you keep that schedule from getting too high too early or peaking early. What's that like for each of you on game day, so to speak, of what is a flyover?
Yeah, so game day will be early for us. We're going to get to the stadium before anybody else, any of the rest of the crowd. Essentially, as the stadium crew shows up, we'll show up and we'll start setting up radios, line of sight, and all of our communications that we'll have with the broadcast booth. And then really we'll just be waiting for that 1 second to come up.
And will you be at the base, obviously a hangar or whatever you're going to be at?
I will, yeah. So I will be on a headset just like this, working through the aircraft launches while also being comms with Triple. He goes by Triple.
Okay.
8 here. And so I'm making sure that everything before they get off, they launch, goes as smoothly as possible so that we can meet his timeline that he's providing us.
And then you will be where?
I will be at the base with 11 here, and then collectively we will take all of her maintainers that are on launching the jets, recovering the jets, a couple other people in collective of about 50 people. We'll get on a school bus and we'll all drive down to the stadium together to meet the ground crew that will be there this early.
Randy Winther, Natalie Winton, and also Bryce, Captain Turner, and all of you. Golly. So what is your rank?
Captain.
No,
Major.
Major. That's
Yes.
right. I know that. That's my dad was a major, finished as a lieutenant colonel, and I loved being a military kid. Loved it. I wish it could have been like. I loved that life. Japan, Guam, D.C. My dad was at the Pentagon. Randolph, Luke, and I'm so glad you guys I'm glad we had a chance to listen to you. God bless for every one of you for serving our country, and also good luck on Sunday.
Thanks for having us.
We're live at the Super Bowl, Radio Row, NFL Media Headquarters, inside the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas.
Baylor alumni are more than 160,000 strong. When we all join hands to support our university, we don't just move the needle, we move mountains. Working together, we create life-changing opportunities for students on the field, in the classroom, in the laboratory, and in life for generations to come. So get connected. Get involved. Learn how at baylor.edu/alumni.
In our logo and advertising, we say we are people that you can count on. What does that mean? It starts with providing a quality vehicle and quality service at a fair price. but it also means we do what we say we will do, and we treat people fairly with respect. It starts by hiring great people, good local folks who work hard with a caring attitude. Our employees are the real reason we are people that you can count on. Put us to the test and see for yourself that at Richard Carr Motors, we are people you can count on.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Our good friend Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jewelers here at 365 Sports. Now, Brad, people who watch and listen to our show know I'm a double-time customer for you, engagement ring and wedding band, and you guys do that great, but that's not all you do at Boozer's Jewelers.
Absolutely, and I always like to say, it's a new year. It's a great way to start the year out. Go through your old jewelry. Go through your wife's jewelry box. Go through anything you're maybe not wearing, something that's broken, something that you're not using. We do a massive amount of custom work. We can take your old jewelry, old diamonds, old watches, and we can convert it into something special for you and make a one-of-a-kind piece of jewelry. And if that's not something you're interested in, a great thing is we can turn that into cash. So we buy gold, we buy diamonds, we'll buy Rolex watches, any kind of heirloom jewelry, anything that's maybe passed down to you.
Boozer's Jewelers, where do they find you, Brad?
We're at 1025 North Valley Mills Drive, right on the corner of Lake Air Drive and Valley Mills with the big clock on the corner.
This is 365 Sports. Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
NFL Media Headquarters, Neil Smith. Kansas City Chiefs great with us. Nebraska great too.
Thank you.
And Paul Catalina, I'm David Smoke. So does Super Bowl week change much for you because the Chiefs are in it?
Absolutely.
Gotten used to that, haven't you?
Yeah, the last, 4 or 5 out of 6, so that ain't bad, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, they've been fantastic. What is it, you played for the Chiefs and the Broncos, so
Sure.
you played. What is it like to go from one place to their hated rival?
I don't know. If I would have went to Oakland, you really would have known.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
Denver and Kansas City is not really a rivalry
Yeah.
as in Kansas City and Oakland is. And I think Denver's always been a team in the West to beat.
Yeah.
And when they hit the John Elway, now is Patrick Mahomes' era, where if you're going to win the West, you got to go through your Mahomes and the Chiefs. So it kind of flipped. In the last few years, in years past that, since when I played and playing against John when I was in Kansas City, and then when joining him, it was just a relief to try to for me to have a great offense. First and foremost, because most of the football was done, on the field with our defense in Kansas City and their offense.
So the Super Bowls you won with Denver, and then of course you had a hell of a career, but. Sometimes when we see you or someone sees me or whatever, everyone thinks everything's fine. Oh, he's got a great life. Everything's good. That's not always the case, is it?
Not at all. It's nothing good about playing in the same division. Not just that, I played a year with San Diego.
Yeah.
And so I've done all the West. and what's so funny about it, the late Al Davis called me the night before the draft of 1987, 88 draft, and he said, you're going to be my number 1 pick. And don't say that to anybody. So I thought I was going to be a Raider that day before I became a Chief. And I believe the Atlanta Falcons had the number 1 pick. They pick a guy named Andre Bruce. And then, of course, I was on the board to go to
Detroit, and Kansas City moved up, picked me, and then the fourth slot was the Oakland Raiders at the time, and Al Davis, and he thought he could move up in that spot, but they didn't do the deal enough to get me. So Chiefs thought about it. They moved up one spot. Detroit dropped down, and then of course Oakland got a great one too in Tim Brown. So it all worked out.
Yeah, but did you tell anybody?
No, I did tell my mom.
Yeah, it's not like she's gonna.
So my mom, I think my mom probably opened her mouth and it was all over the news and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I think I just messed up the whole shebang bang. And it really wasn't no mistake, because if it was for me, if God said it was for me, He was gonna give it to me anyway. So I really believe in having that faith in that happening to me. So
6 Pro Bowls, named All-Decade Team of the '90s. You mentioned the draft day, a part of the Super Bowls with Denver and more. You're here also with MindBodyYo.com. We just had Randy Grimes on. We've had others on. And depression now is a word that is not like verboten. What about with you? Have you had bouts with you had to deal with it?
Well, I think everybody knows someone that have it. Depression is all around of us. I think that people don't want to talk about it, but yes, I have, and I'm proud to say that that I can now get help and call upon it. So I'm thinking that you can be depressed, you can be you can have not just you, the people that are listening to us. Don't feel embarrassed about getting off the couch and seeking this help, because this is why we are blasting this out here in Radio Row and going over the whole world here in our country to bring this awareness to mind, body, and health. So I wanted to say that please go to our website and seek this help for an individual.
Was it different for you because you're a big bad football player and that took you a little bit longer, or is it something that I needed to go to somebody no matter what I did for a career?
Well, you have to. The damage is done.
Right.
You just want to better yourself. So not this depression. Everyone. I'm sure someone knows that somebody had depression. And that's still a part of the mental health. So if anything that you're dealing with, this company just started, and this is the launch for it, and it is awareness. And if we feel like this is awareness, this is where we want to touch on people's lives. So don't feel like you're a Lone Ranger. You're not. When I grew up, I had a learning disability. And I used to hide it for everything. I didn't want to go out and tell the world. But now I can speak on the behalf of, overcoming dyslexia and speak to someone that's in my same boat and say, wow, man, if Neil could do it, why can't I? So that's what we're trying to do, with mind, body, and opposition. So we feel strong about where we're going at with this company. This is, like I said, it's a new beginning for us, and we're looking forward to it.
Mike Sisk did a great job with the business he was before, sold it for lots and lots of money. MindBodyO.com, by the way, is the website.
I almost don't recognize you without your Band-Aid.
All right.
All right. You were one of the guys who had that trademark and all that. It was just as a young football fan, I remember watching the Chiefs or watching the Broncos and seeing your face in that helmet with the Band-Aid over your nose. And it was, you and John Randall had this kind of singular, scary intimidation that maybe a lot of guys didn't have. Was that part of your, because you've got to be in a state of mind to go feast on quarterbacks that's different than a lot of people.
Well, you ever heard of the word, give them what they want, give the people what they want.
Yeah.
The old OJ's made that song, and this is what I wanted to do. It was about the fans, it's about, the opportunity of having that platform to play on. And that's how, the Band-Aid came because I broke my nose. Yeah. And I had to wear a brace over the nose, where my helmet won't slide down and hit it again. Yeah. And I put this tape on there. And I was doing a radio show, and actually it had healed during the year, so I took it off, and I went into this slump. I had 4 games, no sack, and I went to the radio show, and this young lady said, "Hey, Mr. Smith, why you don't wear that Band-Aid again? When you put that Band-Aid on, you look mean, you look, this and that." And I was like, "You want me to put the Band-Aids on?" Okay, I put the Band-Aid.
No kidding.
On Sunday, and we just happened to play, Oakland Raiders. I hit them for 4. I never took the Band-Aid off until now. But there's only one thing about of that is that I didn't have the fact of the matter of I told my agent to go on and patent this because I think it's catchy.
Yeah.
And before we made the patent, Breed Right came out and beat us to it. But I was the first guy to wear the Band-Aid on the nose. But that was supposed to be my company, but that's the one I missed.
You were a part of a dynasty, although at the time it was still hard to win the big game in Nebraska with Osborne. And then they ran the 90s.
Sure.
Paul's a Florida State ex. They helped run the 90s.
Sure.
Matt Rule was at Baylor where we are, and he's trying to get him back with the methodical, fundamental type football. What are your thoughts about what he might do?
My hats off to Matt Rule because now he have one of my sons there. My son's one of the kids that got a scholarship to go to the University of Nebraska out of Kansas City, and I'm looking forward to it. He's doing all the right things to bring the excitement back to the Big Red Nation, and I think that they on the right road. They're winning some games now, and it helps when Harbaugh steps down, and Michigan might lose a lot of players, and with this new way of system, these college guys is jumping in and out of places to go. You can get some players to play for you now.
It does seem
Neil, you got to go. Neil Smith, thank you very much for your time. MindBodyO.com. If you need help, nothing wrong with looking out for it. MindBodyO.com. Thanks for your time.
God bless you guys. Thank you for having me.
Developed by Startup Waco, a nonprofit organization, GXG is a program designed to support the entrepreneurial development of Baylor University student athletes through NIL activations. The program helps student athletes maximize their platforms and offers a comprehensive support system for them to create and grow new businesses that not only benefit themselves, but also uplift the local economy. Fans who wish to support student athletes can donate to GXG via the GXG NIL Fund, BaylorBears.com/GXG. Contributions to support NIL activations through GXG can be made at BaylorBears.com/GXG. For more information, follow @GXG_GreenXGold on social media and visit the official website www.gxg.startupwaco.com. GXG, empowering student athlete entrepreneurship and uplifting the local economy through NIL activations.
Petty Clinic Men's Healthcare in Woodway is now proud to offer you men an exceptional weight management body sculpting product called semaglutide, also known as Ozempic or Wegovy. Semaglutide is an FDA-approved weight management medication. Once-a-week injections of this powerful medication offers an average body fat weight loss of 20% within the first year of treatment. In addition to body sculpting, semaglutide also normalizes blood sugars and has the clinical research proof of reducing blood pressure, cholesterol, stroke, and heart attack risk. If you're like most men and you have stubborn fat that will just not respond to typical diets and exercise, then help is finally here. Semaglutide, affordable, highly effective. Google search Petty Clinic Waco and reach out to the Petty Clinic team today for a free consultation with Dr. Petty to see if semaglutide is right for you. Go to pettycliniclowt.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine now has 2 locations to serve you. The original on Lakeshore Drive in North 19th Street and the brand new spot in downtown Waco at 600 Franklin Avenue. If you're looking for the best in craft beers or local Texas bourbons, then the original is the place to be. And for the latest trends and online phenomenons, head downtown to the Franklin location. Either way, you're going to get the same great variety, customer service, and speedy experience. Check out both locations on their Facebook and Instagram pages. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street, and now downtown on Franklin Avenue.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
This is 365 Sports. Text us at 254-339-1122. The text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
Yes. One of our great sponsors of our coverage in anytime we've been to the Super Bowl has been U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company with Captain Kai Kizzy. And this is a great segment to have with, of course, U.S. Army Green Beret Nate Boyer, former Texas, always a current former University of Texas football player. We've had you on many times. How you been? How's life?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing really well. Doing really well.
You know, I just realized that you were probably one of the only people on earth that you are a Texas Longhorn and also part of a 12th man.
They call it the 12s.
Yes,
the
because
12s.
A&M pulled the rug out from under them on that one.
Yeah, that's right. They had it licensed or something.
Yeah,
that's true. And another interesting note, I played. So now, Texas is obviously moving to the SEC, and we're going to play A&M again every year, which we have to do. But the last game Texas played against A&M was in 2012 at Kyle Field.
Yep.
And it was the only time when I was at Texas that I got to play against them, right? So I'm on the sideline, standing there in uniform, and all of a sudden I hear this very familiar song that the A&M band is playing. They were playing the Ballad of the Green Beret. Mm-hmm. And for a split second, in all my arrogance, I was like, oh, they're playing this for me. No, it's the Cadets. It's just one of the songs the bands play. But they had no idea there's a Green Beret on the field. The only one on the field is wearing burnt orange.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That game will always stick out in my memory because A&M had it won, essentially, and then made some really dumb penalties. I think was it Johnny Jolly that hit Case so far out of bounds they could have been getting water together?
They had that. They had there was a head-to-head on a pass to Mike Davis. I don't know if you remember that. It was over his head. It was probably uncatchable. But somebody, helmet-to-helmet got called.
15 yards.
On like 3rd and 17 or something. And all of a sudden first down. And the rest is history. Justin Tucker from 40 yards. That's where the legend began.
Yeah.
And then Tuck hasn't missed a kick since. You know what I mean?
I don't remember the last time a University of Texas kicker, I'm a lifelong Nebraska fan, and they've daggered them many times, missed a kick when it was a critical moment. There may have been one when they kind of went through this little struggle.
Yeah, but you might not be wrong. Even then, it was Dicker the kicker.
Dicker the kicker.
To beat,
beat Oklahoma one time. And
yep.
So you're a veteran of this right now. You've been doing this, the Radio Row, and now what are you working with Jay Glazer? Is that right?
Yeah, on MVP.
Yeah,
yep.
Trying to merge military veterans and athletes from jerseys or what they wore, camouflage, fatigues, whatever, into real life. That's not easy to do. That's a tough transition.
It is a tough transition, and it's like, I think some people think it's a real tough comparison to make when you first hear, because I did. Like, you can't compare war and sports, you know what I mean? But, like, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the person who puts that uniform on every day, who sacrifices quite a bit to be elite, who has that camaraderie and mission, and someone that their career typically ends pretty young, and you feel like you'll never be great again. You sort of peaked. That's very similar, And so what we're doing with MVP is we're recreating that locker room, giving them that I guess just that community, and reminding them of like who they are. Like, they're the person who sacrificed so much to get to that point. They're the person who beat out everybody else. They're the person who didn't quit, and then maybe one day, like me, they did get cut, or their time ended in the military, and you still got a lot of life left, and you're still that person. You're still capable of so much. So it's like, what are you going to do next? Let's figure this out together, walk this walk together, as Jay likes to say. And, just like you didn't do in the military, you didn't do on the football field, which is quit. Like, can't quit now. that's over. There's still a lot of great things you can do.
You know, day one after a military career and an athletic career is kind of the same thing, because if you're an athlete, everything is structured. Like in the military, it's even more so. Like, you never once had a day as a Green Beret where you woke up in the morning like, hey, what are we doing, Sarge? And like, whatever you want. Yeah. you never.
That's kind of scary. It's like I say this all the time, but it's like it's exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're like, I can do whatever I want, and then you're just like,
well, I've not done that.
But what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, where do I start? I have too many. It's almost like too many choices and options, and it can be kind of daunting. Like, what if I pick the wrong thing and spend all this time going down this path, and it's not even what I want? And that's people get anxiety over that. It's a blessing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that everywhere. We're very lucky to live where we are and have what we have, as imperfect as it is, to have those opportunities, and that's because of our forefathers that fought for that stuff. But at the same time, like, it's it can be intimidating just to sit there and think like, well, what? Okay, so I was behind a rifle for 25 years. Not me, but like, I'm just saying, the typical person that has that long career, or even 5 years, and now it's like, what am I actually good at that I can do in the real world?
Yeah.
Can't do that. You know what I mean? I get, unless you transition into law enforcement or something, but it's like, it's hard to sit there and imagine like where that translates. Same with sports. It's like, well, besides broadcasting, as an athlete, a lot of them think like, what else can I do? All I know is football. And it's just like, no, you know a lot more than you realize.
Paul's father fought on the lines in Vietnam in the Army. My dad was a Naval Academy graduate, never was running the lines, but was at Tan Son Nhut in Vietnam, and he was a part of a couple of wars. But he was a long-time career military. He struggled. They tried to get insurance. It's not the same. And he really struggled with that. I wish you would have had somebody at that time understand because of the protocol that you have as a military man.
Those guys, I mean, the ones who did the most work for veterans were the Vietnam vets, because they were not treated well. Guys came back from World War II, less so in Korea, but in World War II, and they were very much, sort of worshipped and great heroes. And same with
parades.
us. Same with us at some level. Maybe not the parades, but like the thank you for your service thing.
Right.
And I think a lot of that was trying to make up for that guilt of how those Vietnam vets were treated. But even while they were treated like that, they still fought for so many veteran rights and did a lot to get the VA where it is. It's not perfect, but it's way better than it was, in a lot of these organizations.
My dad died almost 9 years ago, but he lived a lot longer because the VA saved his life with PTSD. And so
you gotta dedicate that and thank that's the Vietnam era.
And he after that put a lot of his free time. That was his because he military right to working for a company, and then he was retired. It was really tough for him to be retired. And then when he finally got got help for his PTSD in the VA, like, he was the guy I knew when I was a kid again, and he had a couple rough years. And then he dedicated all his time to free time to hey, I'm going to help these veterans.
Right.
Also, he knew how to get people to help him build a deck because they were bored at the VA. And he went and said, hey, I need help, building this fence.
Are you talking about a pitch deck on your laptop or a physical deck?
And he had a guy come, and he was a carpenter before he went in the military. His dad was a carpenter, and he knew all that. He went in the military, got hurt, and they had him doing this occupational therapy where he was making bowls and stuff. And he's like, I'm gonna go nuts. And he's like, can I just take him out here and have him hammer some nails that he wants to do? It's great. So
that's very cool.
Nate, how much of what Jay Glazer has publicized, his depression and things like that he's fought, do you think led him to this part of what you guys are doing?
I think a great amount. I think a big piece of it's that. Also, he was in New York during 9/11, and so he remembers the jets flying over, and he's like, that's a key memory for him. Because he was afraid. They couldn't find his best friend who had passed. They didn't know that yet, but they were looking for him. But he said he heard those jets and saw those jets fly over, and he was like, oh, thank God we're safe. You know what I mean? Just like that feeling of we're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And so obviously the connection with sports, MMA and football.
Sure.
For most of his life, he's worked in that space, and he's very tight with a lot of those players that have struggled, and coaches even that struggled when it ends, because that even more than the military, it's often not on your terms. It's just you're just cut one day,
That's right,
and it just happens, and you're just like, Yeah, you're not prepared. If
your phone may not ring again.
No, and if you're thinking about Plan B, you're not focused on Plan A, so it's tough to do that. You know, like people are like, "Oh, you gotta have a backup plan," but I mean, I hear that, but when you're in it, you can't think that way, or you're the backup plan's gonna be happening sooner than it should.
I've heard players say that if you ever think about retirement, you are retired.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't heard that. But
I've
that makes
heard,
sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. You played for Mac Brown.
Yep.
Who is still going at North Carolina.
Yeah.
And still very Mac Brown.
Yep.
Love Mac Brown.
Love
and you also played for Pete Carroll, who is now he's having to do a little of that.
If I played for the two coaches that coached against each other in probably the greatest college football game ever, at least one of them.
I think
top
so.
five,
Yeah,
you know?
and individual
championship
performance.
game.
Yeah, for
absolutely.
sure, for sure.
Unbelievable.
What is it? I mean, to be a former Pete Carroll player, to think about the Seahawks not being coached by Pete Carroll.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. And I was only there 5 months, right?
Yeah.
I was there OTAs, training camp, preseason, but enough to get a sense of like how it works down there, the culture, and it's very much. And I've been around and spoken to a lot of other teams and been around it at some level. And I don't want to say I know because I was in the locker room for a day or two.
Yeah.
But it was different there. It felt that college culture, you know, that camaraderie, really getting to know your teammates. That was really important to Pete, and it showed. And then like this positive style of coaching, where it's like he went through the stressful, you know, I think the Jets and the Pats, right?
Right.
Where he just was a high stress guy. And it wasn't fun, and he didn't win. And then he went to USC, completely changed his methodology, you know, started working with sports psychologists, and just like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to feel that way. I want to have fun. This is supposed to be fun. And, you know, it just sort of transformed the way that he coached and the staff that he built. And then they almost won 3 straight natties. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then he goes to Seattle and builds that. And you know, everything was about competing, yes, but it was like, what I remember is like the only yelling that happened at practice was positive yelling. If somebody screws up, especially at the NFL level.
More reinforcement stuff.
Yeah. And if they screw up at the NFL level, they know they screwed up.
Yeah.
You just like dog cussing them and throwing your hat. It's just going to create more of an animosity. They're going to be playing on their heels now, trying to not make a mistake. Instead, just take that player aside and be like, hey, if you don't fix it, like you're either not going to play or you're going to be gone. And you know that. So like, we just got to fix it. You know what I mean? It's that simple. And that's it. And I think that when you respect and treat people that way, because these are men, you know what I mean? Especially at that level. They're making most of them, or not most of them, but a lot of them are making more than you are as a coach. Like you have to treat them in that manner, I think.
You were one of the last few teams at Texas when they were starting to drop a little bit.
Yeah, we were like 8-5, 9-4 when I was there.
But still winning and getting to bowl games. And then there's been this off and on drought. What are your thoughts about what Steve Sarkisian has done to get him on the precipice of playing for the national title?
I mean, whatever he's done is working because, you know, even last year. So the year one he comes in 5-7, and everyone's thinking, well, there's same as it's been the last couple guys we've had, right? Which was tough. And the next year, I think 8-5. I think or maybe even 7-6. We lost the bowl game. We lost to Washington. So yeah, not much better, but a little bit better. And they hung in these close games, and you know, kind of won more than the year before, where we lost every close game, right? And then this year, once again, like it's not like our numbers were off the charts, but we were in a lot more close games, but we like figured out how to win. And
Kansas State, Houston.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The only one was
TCU.
Oklahoma and TCU. Yeah.
And Oklahoma we should have won.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
We had the ball late down there tied. That was a clock management thing, and I bet Sark would own it. But all we had to do was run the clock out and kick a field goal. And he was trying to go for the for the jugular, and we gave him too much time. We gave him a minute 20 or something, and they went down and won the game.
The Pete Carroll culture guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he knows it. So
but he's
he's Saban. He's at the next level.
So he's doing the result speaks for itself. You take a team to the playoff like that, and you're 4 downs away from going to the championship game, and we didn't even play well against Washington, and we still could have won that game at the end. And that was one of our worst. We looked terrible out there.
Makes them a little hungry during the offseason and the signing day today to wrap up a great class. Merging vets and players. Jake Glazer, this, of course, Nate Boyer with us on 365 Sports. Go to vetsandplayers.org. Yep. There's a gala coming up in April in Dallas. You want to register for that if you can to be in Dallas. Thank you.
And if you have the opportunity, please watch the MVP movie. So it's available it's on Paramount Plus, it's on Apple TV, it's on Prime. It was my directorial debut.
Awesome.
I shot it 3 years ago in the middle of COVID. It came out last Veterans Day, but it's available streaming now, and it really tells the story of how MVP started. It's about a Marine who was living in a homeless shelter and a former NFL player, first year out of the league, and they're going through those same struggles, trying to figure out who they are. And the cast, besides Jay, Tony Gonzalez, Randy Couture, Michael Strahan, Howie Long, and they all play themselves in this story, kind of telling their own stories. And then all the vets portrayed on screen are played by actual vets. And so it was a really authentic way of making this thing. And it did well. It's doing well. So please go see that movie because you'll really learn about the genesis of MVP and what we're all about.
Thanks for your time. It's always great to have you. You were on with us when we first started this new show, YouTube, back in April of 2020, one of our first guests. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys.
Nate Boyer with us. Again, it's
time for Paul Catalina's Top 5. Brought to you by Texas Beef House. Where's the best beef in Texas? Your house when you order from Texas Beef House. Unleash the flavor of Texas raised Wagyu. From our pasture to your plate, TexasBeefHouse.com.
Welcome back, 365 Sports, live here and wrapping it up from Radio Row in Vegas at Super Bowl 58. Top 5 things that will decide the Super Bowl on Sunday night. Number 5, San Francisco. Touchdowns, not field goals. You do not beat Patrick Mahomes kicking it. Now, I'm not saying don't kick it when it's obvious to kick it, but if you have an opportunity in a 4th and 1 or something like that, very close to the goal line, go get that touchdown, not the field goal. Number 4, Kansas City. Wide receivers keep making the plays that they have in the playoffs. Awful regular season, tons of drops. All those things happen, but they've stepped up in the postseason and made big catches. You make those kind of drops against this San Francisco defense, they will make you pay. Number 3, San Francisco. Take advantage of KC's missing defensive linemen. Charles Omenihu, Derek Nandi, not in the game. This is a really good Chiefs defense, very, very good, and that falls more to George Karlaftis and Chris Jones and the rest of the rotational players on that Kansas City defensive line. And the 49ers, a great rushing team with Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell, they will lean on that and hope to take advantage of that on Sunday against the Chiefs. Number 2, Kansas City. Limit the holding penalties. They've had quite a bit this year. I believe they're first or second in the league in that category. They're going to get them. And when you have Bosa and Young and Eric Armstead and those guys coming at you and Fred Warner, you're going to get some. But this is a San Francisco defense that will not let you out of 2nd and 20s like some of the other defenses in the league will. So if you get a 2nd and 20, you're in trouble. So do not have those holding penalties. And number 1 for the 49ers, don't give Mahomes a sliver of hope. Not a drop, not a speck, nothing. Don't give him anything. If you do, you know what's going to happen. You're going to lose. That's how it's going to be with the 49ers if they give Mahomes a sliver of hope. Thanks for watching. This is 365 Sports. Have a great Super Bowl, everybody.